one more such facility in Karamoja sub-region. 4, to introduce livestock breeding, fattening and management skilling course in the existing industrial hubs in the 4 sub-regions of West Nile, Lango, Acholi, and Karamoja to enhance the skill of youth in livestock sector. And number 5, to support the growth of beef production in northern Uganda by functionalizing the Arua Ranch in Asua Ranch in Kitgum and Iriri Ranch in Napak district, plus opening similar ranches in West Nile and Lango sub-regions to complement the strides attained in dairy production in western Uganda. I submit, Right Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Nakut Faith. Is the motion seconded? Is it seconded? Seconded by Isaac Zombo, by the whole House? Yes, including the Minister of Northern Uganda. Thank you. Honorable call.
Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize the increased resource allocation to West Nile, Acholi, Lango, and Karamoja regions for livestock farming to accelerate socio-economic transformation. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, when you listen carefully for the State of Nation addressed last financial year, not this particular financial year, the President of the Republic of Uganda was talking to the country of areas that have really accelerated growth in the country. And I still remember that number 1 was coffee, number 2 was dairy cattle or dairy farming, number 3 was about beef. That shows to you that these sectors of livestock is very key for development of these areas. Right Honorable Speaker, these areas before, especially West Nile, Acholi, Lango, and Karamoja, have been doing very well in livestock. In particular, some of the areas lost the cows or the livestock because of the war. But you will realize that in the planning of the country, in budgeting for the country, more resources in terms of livestock has not been given to these particular sub-regions of West Nile, Acholi, Lango, and Karamoja. And because of that, even the existing ranches, Asua Ranch, which is located in Pade, not in Kitgum, has not been receiving the resources needed to make sure that they do their work to prioritize so that the farmers in these areas go back to their original way of farming, which has really affected the farmers in this sub-region. Right Honorable Speaker, when we talk about poverty in the country, the contributors of poverty in this country has been in these 4 sub-regions. And it is very dangerous for our local community to contribute for poverty in the country other than contributing for the development of the country. You will realize that when you are talking about poverty map in the country, Asoli sub-region went from 68% of recent, from the UBOS figures, it has gone to 70%. While Karamoja is stagnating around 65%, West Nile around 35%, Lango. So basically, if government wants to achieve development in this country, this particular part of the country is not doing well because they have not been prioritizing the issue of livestock farming and also perennial crops. And that is key in development of this country. I therefore second this motion, and I think government must take serious actions to make sure that these particular sub-regions received the necessary budget, and that is the only way that we can remove our people from poverty. When you look at the problem in the country now, the prices of these crops that people produce, the soybeans, the maize, they keep fluctuating on a daily basis. While the prices of milk and the price of meat keep increasing. As I talk with you now, a kilogram of goat, for example, goes at around 18,000 Uganda shilling in Gulu, while a person who cultivated maize will sell a kilogram of maize at about 400 shilling or 500 shilling. How many kilograms of maize do you need to sell so that you can buy a kilogram of meat to eat in your family? So these are some of the challenges that our local people have been facing, because people have been engaged in crops that you work 3-4 months and you have to go back again. I was surprised yesterday when a member of parliament, my colleague Honorable Abet Bonica, was telling us that the leaders of this sub-region have not been guiding our community well. It is not the case. Government have not prioritized livestock farming in northern Uganda, while at the same time, people who come from their animals from other regions are grazing the animals here, getting a lot of milk and also getting a lot of meat from this sub-region. I beg to move. Thank you very much.
There's an order. He's off the microphone. Honorable Akol Anthony, we cannot say that government has not contributed much to restocking of this area, because we've just passed a loan of $354 million USD under Agricultural Transformation Project Fund that is going to revamp Aswa Ranch. It is not totally that it has been left out. Much as government has tried its best, but it will, we need more. Yes, Dr. Bedi. Tinka, you want to speak? Let me first get from Dr. Bedi.
Right Honorable, the seconder of this motion has insinuated that yesterday I did allude to the MPs of this area that they are not guiding the people very well. I have never said that. We should capture, we are unanswered, we are on the record. What I said was very clear. I encouraged them, our honorable members, to call for those areas, agricultural enterprises that are key for this area. I didn't say what he has said, I said.
And exactly that's what you said. We need a stakeholders meeting with the leaders for you to be able to guide the leaders on what should be done best. Thank you so much, Honorable Ababiko. Let me first have the seconders, then I come over. I will have Tinka. Now, Northerners, you also need to be helped by outsiders.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I am supporting this motion because livestock farming produce a lot of benefits, and per now, according to the statistics and census of 2021, livestock farming is providing 4% to our GDP. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, culturally, northern Uganda has got very strong attachment to animals, especially our cows, our goats, and so forth. Right Honourable Speaker, therefore, northern Uganda,
when you talk about animals, we are imagining you're talking about those animals in the game park. For cattle keepers, they mention the real thing. The cows, the goats, yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Allow me concentrate more on our cows, our goats. We have a lot of attachment to this. Domestically, they support us economically and socially. We want also to contribute to the GDP of this country. An increment on resources will facilitate this region. One, to make sure that all the regions, the sub-regions in this
region are supported, especially in the areas of establishment of breeding and fattening centers. I'm not supporting that breeding and fattening centers should be in only few areas of Lango and Acholi. I am proposing that they should be in Madi sub-region, they should be at the greater part of the West Nile, Lango sub-region, and Fofo. 2, Right Honourable Speaker, this will support artificial insemination where farmers have their cows, and where farmers do not have their cows, the increment will help us to support small-scale farmers by at least giving our farmers 2 cows and a bull. That will make sure that we all participate. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, we have a big challenge of knowledge. Many of us are keeping our animals in traditional way. If government increases our funding through the Ministry of Agriculture, we feel our farmers will get well organized so that we keep our animals well, we get increased income, we are linked to markets, and we shall be able to have improved livelihood and contribute to the GDP of this country. I beg to submit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Angola. From Lango. Yes, I'm talking about Mrs. Angola Betty, who is holding.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I also support this motion because livestock farming and breeding is very important to the development of this region and this country. Now, Right Honourable Speaker, in Apache district, we have a breeding center. But the center is not doing a lot. Because if we look at Lango sub-region, they are not extending their services to all those districts, which should be a fact. So this center should do a lot in letting the farmers know what they're doing, because we find livestock farming very important in beef, in milk, in hides and skins, and others. And all that is income to our people. So I do support this motion, and government should, through the Ministry of Agriculture, increase funds so that our people can benefit. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tinka. Tinka Michelle Sokia.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, we are also trying to help. Non-Northerners have also asked that they want to support you in discussing this. So long as we are discussing about Greater Northern Uganda. Because I don't expect Tinka to start saying he wants cows in his constituency. We are talking about the Greater North.
Right Honourable Speaker, you are right to say that we should have a national spirit. Look at the development of Northern region and its people squarely. Right Honourable Speaker, they have visited very many places in Uganda, and they have admired what is happening in Mbarara Bushenyi.
they see that if this is done here, with the type of land that they have, it could be a big milestone. I've been privileged, Right Honorable Speaker, to be in all these regions, Karamoja, West Nile, Lango, and Acholi. Right Honorable Speaker, indeed, livestock farming is viable. And the movers of this motion are right for the people that they lead. And it is the reason, Right Honorable Speaker, that I stand to support them. Right Honorable Speaker, I will be quick to add. When I was in Karamoja, I discovered that it is normally hit with heavy drought. Other than having to increase resource for livestock farming, the government must intentionally move to have this region access sustainable water sources. In Libya, Right Honorable Speaker, the leadership by then realized that they could not have sustainable source in Libya of water. They decided to channel water to the desert areas from the sea. I would also be glad to see government in an effort to develop Karamoja from being a nomadic region by diverting water from the River Nile to this sub-region, such that they can have permanent water sources that do not dry up for their livestock. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to see something tangible. When we talk about livestock farming, we are not talking about one cow to each one household. And what type of a cow? We are talking about maybe 5 to 20 heifers of where it is possible, zero grazing, such that these people can be engaged in heavy milk production that can be marketed and they get money that can increase the capacities of these households to get enough money to have decent housing, educate the children they produce in their homes, and be able to have capacity in case they are invaded by any form of sickness to treat themselves.
Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you because I had not submitted on the floor of the House, and your team for having thought about these regional sittings. I had an interaction with people from northern Uganda when in the evening, particularly in Guru, a number of them were very appreciative of this initiative. I am looking forward to when this will be in my sub-region, Bunyoro. Certainly, our demands are very clear, and we will expect that the people from northern Uganda will also support us.
Thank you. Thank you.
May God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Tinker. Honorable Tinker, we have an international obligation with Egypt, and diversion of water from the Nile would be declaring war. But we also have nearby waters in the area apart from the Nile. So the diversion of the water from the Nile should be removed from the Hansard, but it can be from any other area. Can I have Dr. Lulu May, then Mrs. Okia? After Mrs. Okia, then we have Lillian.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. And I thank the mover of this motion, which I would like to support wholeheartedly. We have been hearing a lot of stories that the northern region, before the war, had a lot of livestock. And then, after the war, there have been efforts to restock the livestock. We want to evaluate, we want to cause an evaluation of the restoration of the livestock in northern Uganda. There are certain pictures which I see usually, Right Honorable Speaker, when the president is looking after his cattle. Thousands of them, and they are usually local breeds. So somebody would wonder, why should a president look after local breeds? He looks after local breeds. And we need to interrogate that, and the president would be the right person to advise. In many areas of this country, including the region where I come from, livestock has always been given to people. And these are exotic breeds, Right Honorable Speaker. And it is very difficult to trace how many people have expanded their herds after being given the exotic breeds. Somehow it becomes very difficult for them to sustain such projects, even if it is one cow, because of the expenses involved in looking after them. So the mover of the motion needed to also to be specific. What kind of livestock would suit this region so that people can sustainably look after them? It will necessitate the ministry to carry out an elaborate kind of research together with the people of northern Uganda, because generations have changed. The previous generations had time for their herds. Today's generations, people may not have a lot of time for the herds of cattle, if at all you want to restock the way it was. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I'll give you. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, while I support this motion, I would like the mover to do the needful social engagements within the region to ensure that if an investment is going to be directly made to improve livestock in this area with vast land and grasslands, the types of breeds, and then the ability to sustain the project, even if it is one cow,
Thank you.
is can be sustained. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is the Minister of Agriculture here? Honorable Bueno, the essence is when you give us Frisian cows, the grass in our area may not be suitable for the Frisian cows. They may not be able to live longer. And for you, you may think, well, this is what will give us milk, and we sell. But then, Honorable's argument is one. You need to do a stakeholders meeting to find out which animals fit best in that area. So you respond to the issues. Yes, information. Then
Right Honorable, this acting law is a vet by profession. Right Honorable, Karamoja has a breed which we call zebu animals. Small, but very good for that area. What we need to do is to bring a breed to improve.
Crossbreed.
Yes, we crossbreed so that we can improve the growth rate and the size. And those breeds are there, Bolan, just from the neighborhood in Kenya, and everywhere we have them. That's what we need to do. In Western Uganda, they have improved the local breed, the Ankole breed, by crossing with Frisian because they are looking for milk. Here we don't need to look for milk, for instance, in Karamoja. We need to look for beef. Those are issues which I know that our ministry is well able because they are vets that have gone to school, well trained, and they can give us a good program. But the idea that government focuses on this region with abundant land, abundant pastures, is an idea that must be given priority and we must implement. And lastly, Right Honorable, one of the members has ably articulated the issue of water for production. For Karamoja, you cannot talk about animal production unless you also focus on water for production. We don't need to divert any river. We need to set pipes up to Karamoja. Karamoja is not in Sahel. Karamoja is just near here. We can pump water and they can do production. And we can have those feedlots. We can have those breeding centers. I thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you. Before the next person comes, we have Mr. Uguti Sebastian, Deputy Dean of RCCs in Uganda, and is the Deputy RDC Lamo District. Then we have Mr. Tim Godfrey, Division Mayor, La Ro Pache. This is the second time. We have Mr. Kidega James, RDC Agago. And then we have Honorable Jennifer Nantume Egunyo, the cow of Noya District. She was with us in the 10th Parliament. Honorable, you're welcome. Yes, Mrs. Okia.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to second the motion that government should prioritize resource allocation to northern region for livestock farming. Right Honorable Speaker, the chura that His Excellency was talking about in the 7 enterprises, which government has already done for us, livestock farming is one of them. Livestock farming is one of the biggest producers of revenue, especially when it's done at zero grazing level. His Excellency has always said that for him he does the local animals because he has a vast land. Now in northern Uganda, I can give the example of Madiokolo district. Each household has access to about 4 acres and above. Some households have access to over hundreds of acres. And this is, a lot of this land it has lots of tall grass and bushes. And this has attracted what people are calling the Balalo to our region. And the Balalo have seen that their animals have thrived in this area. So we would really support if government could help even the local people, because the people have just been saying, let the Balalo go. But that doesn't solve an issue. How about if the local people were empowered and taught to do what the cattle grazers are also doing? Right Honorable Speaker, the Madiokolo district is very good for goat rearing. A small pilot project has been done in the parish which I belong to, and people have prospered. The goats multiply at a very fast rate. This is something that can be looked at because someone receives 3 indigenous goats and then maybe a male hybrid goat, and then the population is able to expand. So if this could be rolled out into all the other areas, Right Honorable Speaker, I believe we would see the socio-economic transformation that we are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. The government can actually buy cows from those balalos, the neighbors, so that you coexist, because those animals are already used to being there. They will not die. Lillian, and then Honorable Joyce Achan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to second this motion. Right Honorable Speaker, the people of West Nile have been keeping animals, but our local breeds The best you
Which
can
animals?
do.
Leopards?
The cows, the goats. The best our cows can do, the local breed, is weighing about 90 kilograms or 80 kilograms. That is the best you can do. When we milk, the best you can do is to get 2 liters or 1.5 liters. And most of the people of West Nile attached social meaning to the animals. They will keep a few to marry. And they don't, of course, pay many. So 4 or 5, you marry a woman. But this has changed. With the intervention of NADS and Operation Wealth Creation, the government has tried. They took some animals to West Nile. Unfortunately, as my colleagues have said, the breed that was taken there could not easily be managed by the locals. Because for them, these animals, they graze at will. They don't invest in treating them. So these animals which were brought needed you to plan for it, needed you to treat them, needed you to keep them well. Most of them died. That has been the challenge there. I'm happy that the motion is echoing that we must invest in capacity development, we must invest in other areas such that these animals can be kept well. Those animals can be kept, the cows can be kept in West Nile because other people already keeping it and getting good money out of it.
Let me give somebody who has animals that do not die anyhow, anywhere.
Thank you.
Honorable Kasaija. Honorable Kasaija Mzee, can you give an advice on cows? You know, not all cows die anywhere. When you look at the Boran that the Honorable Kasaija has, he's the best farmer I know. Achan?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also support the motion of increasing resource allocation to northern Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to bring your attention on the national special grant that is being given to people with disabilities every year. This grant has helped us for people with disabilities to purchase animals. And when we visited the group in Palaro, we visited the group in Atiak, we visited the group in Namukora in Kitgum, they were doing very, very well. As their hope were increasing to add on more livestock, the national special grant was cut in the budget. And the money being given to them now is so meager. We pray that this money is increased. Right Honorable Speaker, as also they aim to get PDM to add on the livestock, whenever they go to fill the forms to access this PDM money, they are being chased away that they already have national special grant. I therefore request that if this money come to northern Uganda, people with disabilities should also be considered. I submit.
Thank you. Bish. After Bish, we have Loki, Honorable Loki.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to support the motion urging government to increase resources and funding to northern Uganda. Simply because, number one, historically, northern Uganda as a region has been left behind in terms of development. And therefore, there are certain agencies, especially an agency like NAGRIC, which is doing reproduction for animals, and it could be placed here in northern Uganda. Maybe they could have a branch here, so that we can do more production, Right Honourable Speaker, in addition to that, the infrastructure in northern Uganda needs to be improved, because with all this, you cannot do much when you don't improve on infrastructure in the region. And more so, as it has been said earlier, we need to increase the education facilities to skill our youth. Because, as the President earlier said, if you don't have household income, and that household income must come from education, must come from agriculture, then the people may not have good health, may not have money in their pockets. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I stand here to support the motion that Northern Uganda gets more resources, gets more funding for us to move in tandem with other regions. I thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to join my colleagues to support the motion urging government to increase funding in order to boost livestock farming in the various parts of northern Uganda. Right Honourable Speaker, this motion is premised on the fact that government, through Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, carried out agricultural zoning of this country. That is, identifying the potentials of each region, each area in the country to see what they can produce best and therefore export. Right Honourable Speaker, livestock is one way of empowering the rural masses economically, if only we have political will, if only we can enhance the budget to support the livestock subsector. Right Honourable Speaker, honourable colleagues, you realize that in our budgetary allocations, here in, here out, in the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, you have the livestock sector which is getting a peanut allocation. How do you expect a subsector which is being given little money to produce much? It is only if government allocates money to this subsector, that's where the cattle keeping communities will be able to produce what to export and contribute to the GDP. Right Honourable Speaker, you see government had programs for restocking various parts of northern Uganda. But you do restocking without giving farmers basic knowledge in livestock disease control. These animals are given to the farmers. The farmers are clueless in terms of diseases that are common there and how they can be helped to prevent those diseases. And these animals end up dying without giving farmers what they should have got. So this is worsened by livestock disease control decentralization. There are some diseases which the Ministry of Agriculture has decentralized to the farmers. And you know, when you decentralize a disease like CBPP, that's the lung disease, decentralizing diseases caused by ticks to the livestock farmers, they have no capacity. Farmers do not have capacity to control diseases. So why is government running away from the responsibility, a technical responsibility of controlling diseases in the countryside, especially among the people who are keeping animals? So, Right Honourable Speaker, I want to passionately support this motion urging government to increase money. Information. I take the information.
Hey,
Madam Speaker,
you know,
I support the motion.
you know, when you look at raiders, you know,
Madam Speaker,
you know,
we are not.
Honorable Chero came to see my cows. Then he said, "This cow looks like mine." Yes.
Madam Speaker, thank you. I thank my colleague for giving me a chance to give information. I equally support this motion. Madam Speaker, I don't need to repeat the fact that adding funding to northern Uganda in this sector is important. Many have talked about it. I want to digress debate a bit. Madam Speaker, government has already been putting some effort in restocking this country in many sectors. For example, let's talk about the animals in northern Uganda. There has been a restocking program in northern Uganda, but on many occasions, the resources don't go to the right people. I want us to discuss this thing, members, very carefully, that government has been making a lot of efforts, but the method, Parliament has been giving money to buy things for people, but these things don't reach the people who deserve them. How are we going? When are we going to discuss that one? Let's be very careful, because government has been pouring resources. Government has been giving, but those who implement them down there, if you want to benefit, you bribe even the parish chief. You have to bribe to be in the list. When will the poor bribe to benefit from this thing that we are discussing? This is a very healthy debate, but our people as we debate more.
There's a scenario where cows were taken to a particular district and they were only given to family members. Yeah. So
thank you. Finally, Right Honorable, I want to conclude. We can ask government, and through this motion, we want to plead to government in a bid to demonstrate seriousness to develop the livestock subsector in Uganda. We have to pass the rangeland and management policy, because then it is where all the policies with all the deliberate steps to develop the livestock subsector are defined. So I urge the Minister of Agriculture to to table the rangeland and management policy in the House so that we pass alongside the funding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen. Honorable members, if you have spoken, kindly give others also to speak.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
After Maureen, Honorable Koribon.
I want to support the motion of government prioritizing and increasing allocation of resources to northern region. Right Honorable Speaker, this brings me, when Arua was still a district before we became to Arua as Arua city, I remember there were cows, the Frisians, that were brought to Arua district then, and they just dumped them. And knowing the Frisian cows are very expensive, Right Honorable Speaker. And now, when these cows are distributed or given out, they just call to whom it may concern to pick them. And once you pick them, first of all, our people do not have any knowledge of raising Frisian cows. We do have extension workers, Right Honorable Speaker, but these people do not do anything on the ground when it comes to that. Now, that means all those Frisian cows that were taken to Arua, all of them died. We can now imagine how much it has costed the government. I now request that, Right Honorable Speaker, that as government funds, or as we request government to increase funding for northern region, they should also think about those that are down there, the extension workers, going to, before they venture in bringing in any cow, whatever form, in whatever form, let them first train the people and even the mindset of our people. People are still attached. They are still attached in a way of doing things the traditional manner. You see, in Arua city, if you go to the way we keep our goats and animals and cows, it is just for them, for marriage purposes, which is not a good way. So, Right Honorable Speaker, some of those things should be taken into consideration, but to request that more funding should be sent or given to northern region. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Korimoy.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Jennifer.
For the opportunity, and I want to support the motion urging government to prioritize and increase resource allocation for livestock farming in northern Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, recently government secured a market in Algeria for milk and milk products worth $500 million annually. So it would be a good thing for northern Uganda also to take the opportunity and benefit from the market that the country has secured. One thing that has to be done, Right Honorable Speaker, is to improve the breeds of animals in northern Uganda. For example, Karamoja has the largest number of cattle, but it doesn't produce milk. When you check the records of Dairy Development Authority, there is no milk which comes from Karamoja, just because the animals are poor. I know when money is invested in this sector, the breeds will improve, and therefore we can also benefit from the market that government has secured. Right Honorable Speaker, recently a member informed the Parliament about the type of cows that are in West Nile. The woman member of Parliament for Terego informed this House that in Terego, the cows there look like goats. It means they are so poor that they cannot even give any economic benefits. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at the ranches in this country, in northern Uganda, we have Aswa Ranch, which is intended to benefit the communities and also to improve the breeds. That one is in Pade. And when you come to Lango, there is Maruzi Ranch, which also has challenges, has not been attracting any money. In Karamoja, it is empty, there is no ranch. And in West Nile, we have Gotapoyo, but the Gotapoyo also has been having challenges. So, Right Honorable Speaker, it would really be good for this Parliament and for government to take a deliberate effort to ensure that more money is put into these ranches and also in other areas that are deserving, like Karamoja, so that the animal population is improved. Otherwise, I want to thank the movers, and I know we are in the right way. Thank you,
Thank you, Jennifer. Order on what? Information from who? Who is informing? I'm asking. Who is informing?
I thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity.
Honorable members, what is the problem? You want to give information? Okay. Let Jennifer finish, then you give information.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I don't take this opportunity for granted. I stand here to support the motion urging government to prioritize and increase resource allocation to West Nile, Acholi, Lango, Karamoja regions for livestock farming. Madam Speaker, in fact, this should have been yesterday. Our people have been left behind for so long. Our people were deceived to grow tobacco, which tobacco farmers up to now have not been compensated. And after that, Right Honorable Speaker, our people went into
Jennifer, we passed money for tobacco compensation, and the money is available for tobacco compensation. Let's not misguide the population out there.
Thank you for this clarification, because our people have waited for so long, and if this is the information, we are glad, and we pray that it is implemented. And our people, after being deceived to grow tobacco, some of our farmers in West Nile went into marungi growing, which has been prohibited, and they have been now left with no alternative. And if this is to give an option, an alternative for the livelihood of our people in West Nile, Karamoja, Lango, and Acholi,
So be it and let it be implemented.
Thank you.
Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the hybrid program that is always centrally procured has issues. And however, we pray that if this program is implemented, let it be done well so that the procurement challenges that are centrally, as it has been, are addressed, and as well as the sensitization of our people be upheld. So
there was information.
Thank you.
There was information from where? Amoru? Or from FETA? What information was it?
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity. I wish to inform my honorable colleague, that Honorable Korimo, that the demonstration farms he was speaking about and saying is in the West Nile, Gotafoyo is not in the West Nile. That demonstration farm is in Noya district,
is in
Noya. Acholi sub-region.
Yes.
However, Right Honorable Speaker, I support the motion very much.
Thank you.
You see me here, I am a product of cattle farming. My father used to breed bulls to pay school fees, and those bulls would be the one to send us to school. In December, it would be slaughtered, and it would pay the school fees of the first term, then the second term, and then the third term. That's how we have come here.
Thank you.
We were able to access socio-economic transformation of household income because from P4, I used to sell milk and go to school with the money.
Thank you.
So cattle breeding.
Honorable members, where is Honorable Lanya, Andrew? You know, give Andrew the microphone. Yesterday I looked at Andrew, the other day I looked at Andrew's cows that looked like they were goats. You know, the problem when we get cows, a cow must be treated like a baby. The cows must be looked after very well.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support the motion because this is something that we've all been doing for a long time.
But you remember you complained.
Yes, you did complain, and it's part of why I want to support this motion. On condition that it's not just about giving cows to the people. It should be one that is looking at the whole ecosystem, from the feeds to the medication to the professional services. If you look at tomorrow, for example, in terms of extension services, you have one extension farmer, extension service provider per 3,000 plus farmers. So unless we address the whole ecosystem, we're basically just beating around the bush. So I want to request that when we look at this, it should be a holistic approach to the whole ecosystem. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can we now first hear, let's hear from Polot, Koluo, Pasca, then the chairman of, then the Batum.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity.
Be brief.
Thank you so much. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the motion that government should prioritize and give resources to support livestock farming, aware that livestock is a source of food and a source of income. Madam Speaker, for us in Teso, you are one of the model cattle keepers. And I want to agree with the North because they have land. Just like for our case, the population is so high, but you are aware we have areas where people can keep livestock. But Madam Speaker, I wanted this to be put right. Because as per now, even the President committed that maybe we increase on the number of people who are going to benefit from compensation. So how can government put it right that this is allocation for compensation and this is allocation separately again for the same economic activity? I thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you. There was somebody who said we need a serious talk about restocking vis-a-vis compensation. We really need to talk about that and agree which is the best thing that benefits everybody. We need equity. We really need equity in this country. Because if you're saying you're compensating only 10 people in my village, and yet all of us need restocking, all of us need income. So we need to sit and agree how best can be handled. Pascal?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm here to strongly support the motion for government to send more resources to the region because we are really, really doing bad. Right Honorable Speaker, it is so painful that we see those who come to graze their animal, they hire land and then they take it back. The animal that the cow that they could have bought at only 500 shilling, on grazing it in the land of Noya, they will go back selling it at 2 million. Right, Honorable Speaker, this pains us a lot. So this is one of my justification and the confirmation that we must all, as Northern Uganda, stand up for livestock farming. Right, Honorable Speaker, Pade District is the district which is having Achua Ranch. We have Nagrik in Achua Ranch, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm so happy you said that there is money which is going to be sent to Achua Ranch, which is to the tune of around 355 million US dollar. Right Honorable Speaker, I pray that this government should not only make this money benefit the investors who are in Achua Ranch. This money should be prioritized to the community. The Nagrik, which is in Achua Ranch, they are government workers, but they are not doing anything to support the community to come up and stand on their own. If we could identify outgrowers and Nagrik directly support them to come up, we would fight poverty in Acholi sub-region and we will no longer remain the same.
Thank you.
So I hereby strongly support the motion, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. If I could ask from all of you here, who leads by example? How many of you have cows? Because we must lead by example. We must, I know Museveni has them. We must lead by example. As we advocate for all this, we should lead by example and make sure our people learn from us. Yes, I'd given baton, Honorable Abrahams, and then Esther. Yes? Hey, Kolua, I forgot you. Because you're not a cattle keeper.
Thank you very much.
I will come to you. I will come to you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Let's try to limit the time.
I rise to support the motion urging government to increase funding to livestock production in the northern region. Colleagues have spoken about a number of factors, but I want to focus on Karamoja. Karamoja's livestock population can support the growth and increase in the GDP of Karamoja in terms of processing and export of beef. Organic beef in that case. Because Karamoja's livestock is bred on organic pasture, on the natural grass. And the beef from Karamoja is actually on high demand across the globe. We just need to improve on the qualities. But there are a few factors that make it very difficult. A number of colleagues have already alluded to them. One is diseases, the other one is pasture, and then the other one is water. Given that the droughts are long in Karamoja, it leads to less grass during the periods that the rains are not able to support the growth of pasture. And water bulking and transfer would be a very good solution. Yesterday was the Committee of Agriculture made their presentation. They didn't talk about issues of water production in Karamoja. Targeting water, bulking and transfer. A colleague had talked about getting water from the Nile or Lake Choga to take to Karamoja. That may not be a solution given international issues. But Karamoja has rains that are flash and have a lot of water. And there are 3 sub-catchments in Karamoja that can support water bulking and storage and transfer. One of them is Lokere, which supports the northern districts of Karamoja. It's called the Pager sub-catchment. The middle is the Lokok, and then the southern one is the Aoja. So if we invested money in these areas, yes.
Let's first talk about getting the animals, then we look for a source of water.
Yes, I'm looking at water that can support pasture management,
it is
and then to provide enough pasture for water.
We can even give
Thank
you from Aoja. Yes, next.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the motion to increase resources in northern Uganda. Madam Speaker, history has it that the Soroti beef factory at one point was proposed to be in Karamoja in the 60s. And that was because of the numbers of livestock. And at that time, the word poverty did not exist in Karamoja. But today, after a lot of conflicts, a lot of livestock diseases, a lot of counterfeit drugs for livestock in the market, the livestock population has come down. That therefore warrants additional resources to be given to the north. Madam Speaker, there was an honorable member who was talking about the Aswa Ranch, and it tickled my mind a bit. I think it's important as Ugandans that this parliament rises to the occasion to question the role of investors. I'm not saying investors have no role, but if all money is going to be pumped on investors, how shall we fight poverty? Because it's assumed that investors already have their own money. If they come to Aswa Ranch to invest, and the government has to give them more money, but as the population is watching them in poverty, then what exactly shall we be doing?
You.
So we'd like to appeal that resources that will be added to the north to support the livestock production should focus at the local people. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable, just for clarification, the meat factory is private in Soroti.
I am talking about the history, Madam Speaker, that in the 60s.
But also in the history, there were so many cows in the Teso. And actually now they even beat Karamoja.
Incidental, nobody is going to take it away. But when we are saying revamp us with more resources, we can have our own. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
We are now happy that you have assured us that the uncles will not come for them.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to support this motion because of the following reasons. Right Honorable, lately, I have been taking a lot of time studying how livestock can change the life of a rural person. I got so interested in this study and did a lot of research on the Kenyan market, and I've realized that these things are doable. This motion comes at the right time. However, I want to urge members of parliament, the leaders of northern Uganda, while we process this motion, let us take time and lead by example, like the way Right Honorable is saying. Let us act or become mini demonstration farms for our people. I've realized that you don't need to have a lot of land to benefit from livestock. I've realized that animals, especially dairy animals, feed on daily things that every northern Uganda home has. Sweet potato leaves, banana leaves, everything that we have. That means what we need is only knowledge to make sure that we turn this knowledge into a profitable venture for the women that we are leading. Right Honorable, I can promise you that I'm not going to lead just for the sake, but I'm going to lead from the front. I'm going to get my people to understand that these things are actually possible. I want to say that there is an aspect to this as well. We have the biogas that comes out of cows.
Cow dung.
Cow dung every day. Northern Uganda is currently affected by deforestation. All a family needs is one cow to have biogas and clean cooking in their homes. This would be very good, and I would love us to inspire our people into that direction. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you. I'd told the Honorable Megade. I'd given Honorable Megade.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I stand to support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, we must believe that cattle rearing is not a political activity, because it is an economic activity. And every other month, BOU publishes export volumes. And you see coffee, meat or beef, milk. If we are to reduce poverty in the different parts of the country, we should be measuring different regions as per their contributions to those different export volumes. Some many years ago, the President launched one of the biggest beef processing facilities in the country, owned by the Egyptians. And this is in Matuga, along Kampala-Gulu Road. It requires 400 heads of cattle per day. It is producing far much below capacity. It is only important and a duty of government that by facilitating Northern Uganda join livestock farming, that is the one also helping this factory, which is not far from Northern Uganda, to maybe to produce at half capacity or at full capacity. But, Right Honorable Speaker, it is disturbing to see animals move from different parts of the country coming to Matuga along Kampala-Gulu Road, when there are no animals which can come from Gulu to Matuga along Gulu Road. And at the same time, Right Honorable Speaker, cows can thrive anywhere. I cannot mention that it can also thrive in the islands because I'm in Northern Uganda, and that will be for another day. But we must accept that there may be reasons why certain areas are where they are in terms of development, and basically, it is basically because of cattle rearing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Obi, cattle rearing may not be a political activity, but it also affects the political economy in terms of taxes, in terms of investment decisions, the laws that are available. So, can I talk to Noya, DP? Okelo.
Thank you.
Kolu, I'll give you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this House has already taken note that before the conflict, farmers here had a lot of animals. Before we delve into how government can support, we need to look at what happened and what is happening now. Right Honorable Speaker, many things have happened, but currently there are so many things that impede the growth of livestock in northern Uganda, especially that of cows in Acholi and generally northern Uganda. One of them is that the quality of drugs, that in veterinary drugs that are available here, cannot be trusted by farmers. You buy drugs for controlling ticks and they don't control. So government, we urge government to try and control the quality and make the environment for livestock better than it is. Right Honorable Speaker, also a farmer to improve the breed should avoid inbreeding. To avoid inbreeding, you need to buy cows, other breeds from elsewhere. Currently, as we speak, Right Honorable Speaker, it is very difficult for a farmer in Acholi or even West Nile to buy cows from across Karuma to come this way. You need 8 different approvals, which makes it entirely difficult, especially for local farmers. Madam Speaker, also when we are talking about livestock farming, we are not just talking about cows. So in this motion to the government should look holistically into the whole livestock industry to include birds. About 2 weeks ago, Right Honorable Speaker, in this city of Gulu, there was very little supply of eggs. And farmers had to rush to Kampala and other towns to bring eggs to serve the need of Gulu City. And that means there is also wide market for also other forms of livestock. Madam Speaker, while we have institutions now being strengthened, it is important that we strengthen continuous research into this farming. Because all farmers need is a good environment, all farmers need are quality drugs, all farmers need are seed money to begin with. I thank you very, very much and I support this motion.
Honorable Minister of Health, before you go, there is a question you needed to answer that is being asked. Members, I'm coming back. Minister of Health has something to go and do, but there's an issue that members are raising in northern Uganda on the issue of drugs, that when they go to the hospitals, they tell them to go and buy drugs from out. The issue of the support to the nodding children. Members, I'm coming back to that.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I prepared an entire booklet on everything in northern Uganda, starting with Acholi sub-region, Lango sub-region, West Nile, and also Karamoja. Fast forward, I actually want to thank the people of this region, Acholi sub-region, because in my report, they contribute the least of non-communicable diseases. In the entire region, Acholi sub-region has the least morbidity for the commonly known as non-communicable diseases. And Right Honorable Speaker, as a sector, the 75% of our disease burden is preventable. If we increase health promotion, health information, we'll have very few people to treat in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, they asked about why there are no medicines in hospitals. I've been to this sub-region 3 times since I joined the health sector. And sometimes I've been informed that yesterday, but they received drugs. The biggest problem we have with drugs is that everybody runs to our health centers, government health facilities. And really the drug stockouts is one of our challenges. Why is it a challenge? We get very little money towards buying drugs under NMS. Now, when NMS receives these monies, they purchase drugs, distribute them, and send a message to every member of parliament.
Honorable Minister, there is an order.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, Honourable Minister of Health should note that in Gulu referral hospitals, it has been quite for long. When patients go to hospital, doctors only prescribe and the patient is supposed to buy medicine from out. It has been there for so long. You cannot say that it has just started of recent. That is out. For us, we come from here and we know what is going on in this region. Right Honourable Speaker, the minister should also note that the CT scan that was given through Gulu Regional Referral Hospital, that CT scan has never worked. And the medical soup tells us that there are no technical people to operate the CT scan. Right Honourable Speaker, the problem here is quite enormous. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the President. He committed the other day that he is going to support the students from northern Uganda, majorly on sciences. Right now, the intern doctors from northern Uganda, all of them were not deployed, and more so, COVID-19 interfered with that deployment. It means if they fail to be deployed this time to the medical health centers, they shall have taken more than 2 years without completing their studies. I pray, Right Honourable Speaker, let the President and Parliament take very special consideration to the people of northern Uganda. Especially, let the intern doctors be deployed. I beg to move.
Thank you. Dr. Lulume. There was another. Dr. Lulume. Let me hear from the doctors after Dr. Lulume, Dr. Chut. Richard, you became a doctor.
Right Honourable Speaker, I had wanted to inform the House
Honourable
that the
members,
Health Committee...
Just a minute. Honourable members, why I diverted the debate? Because I am sending the Minister on an assignment. We have a patient that she has to sign for the patient to be taken for treatment. Yes?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I was trying to inform the House that the Health Committee, of which I was part, that crisscrossed northern Uganda, will have a report, and I think we shall be on order paper tomorrow. So I was seeing the Minister kind of preempting the report that we must give to Parliament. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Bua. Okay, Honourable Chut. Dr. Achut.
Oh. Yes.
Dr. Achut.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. As my colleague has indicated, there's a report from the Health Committee which is going to expound more on the drugs. But I just want to give 3 reasons that we've always observed for drug shortages. One is that delayed deliveries. A delivery that's supposed to have been made 3 months ago hasn't been made. The second reason is we have what we call artificial drug shortages. The drug is there in the store, but then when the patients go, they're actually sent outside to get the medicines. We observed this during our oversight visits, where a patient has been sent to buy a Panadol or a Moxil outside in a pharmacy, but when you go to the store, the medicines are available. So we are having issues of artificial drug shortages, which is driving all that itself. And that is what the report is going to try and raise and see how best to address. So I thought I'd just give that information that our report is going to clarify more on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruyonga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'm Dr. Rionga. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Dr. Joseph Rionga, and I'm the MP for Hoima West and the Chair of the Health Committee. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, as my colleagues have mentioned, we had an oversight from 12th to 17th, and we have a report which we put on order paper, shall present it tomorrow. But to add on what my deputy has mentioned, there is also a very big deficit in the budget for drugs. For the whole country, we had interaction with the national medical stores. There is a deficit of around 180 billion Uganda shillings. So much as there is shortage, but also we have to think of increasing the budget for the drugs for our country. I beg to submit.
Honourable members, let's first hear from the government chief whip.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, following our earlier consultation with you, 2 ministers from the Ministry of Health are currently out of the country on state assignments. We have only one who should equally proceed to Kampala to sign a document to allow one of us to move out of the country for urgent medical attention. We have also consulted, and in the absence of the ministers of health, we have duly agreed that the Honorable Dr. Kenneth Omona, the Minister of State for Northern Uganda, will hold forth, what the lawyers call holding brief, for the Ministry of Health, alongside Honorable Dr. Kaduchu from the Ministry of Education and Sports. And both are doctors who are part of the doctors in the House, and I believe they will do a good job in consultation with the technical team from the Ministry of Health.
Thank you. So we'll have the report on health. Tomorrow we shouldn't rush because it's one person. So hold your questions on health. We'll discuss it now that we have people to hold fort. Pardon? Yes?
Right Honourable Speaker, I have already handed over the document prepared by the Ministry of Health on the entire northern Uganda, and I beg to lay and also to leave.
Thank you. I wish you a safe journey.
Thank you very much.
Any question on health, we will handle it tomorrow after the report has been presented.
Madam Speaker, this is a bit urgent.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Madam
Speaker, the issue I am raising now is in regards to a positive test that was got at Elego about monkeypox. And yes, Amuru District Local Government has reported this, but they have said they have not got any government response. That is why I was insisting that it must be raised so that the people at the border and the Amuru District Local Government is assisted. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Minister. Pox.
add. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleague. My sister, Honorable Lucy, has raised a very critical issue that is topical in the country. Recall the Minister of Health made a statement on the floor of Parliament, and she gave preventive measures. She gave interventions that currently the ministry is undertaking. Madam Speaker, it is true, Uganda is on very high alert because there are 4 confirmed cases. As far as I know, there are still 4, unless there is the current update that probably I may not be aware. But Madam Speaker, the Ministry, one, has built a very strong capacity for surveillance right from the district up to the national level. In my own district, equally, there were cases, I think. Moyo is one of the districts. Of course, Amuru equally. But we have the surveillance system that are able to identify, detect, and take samples without much delay. And from there to the regional, from regional to the national. Number 2, already protocol for care and management has been developed, and this has been disseminated at every district. As you know, Madam Speaker, these are infections that are not managed at regional, neither at district level. That is why COVID has got different centers, and it is being managed within the district. So I want to inform this House, the Ministry of Health is in full control, is in full alert, and has put in place a very strong measures to ensure this disease does not spread. On the other hand, we as leaders, Madam Speaker, it's our sole duty, as the Minister presented, it's us to ensure that we take special precaution. We can see from His Excellency, the President, how we can try as much as possible to avoid close contact, to use preventive measures, to use all that it can to ensure we do not spread the infection across the country. Any further information, I beg that we get the current latest number, we will present it tomorrow. I beg to submit, Honorable.
Thank you, thank you. Honorable Minister of Agriculture. Doctor, you have something to say?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to say just a few things. I hope still on the motion about the motion raised to urge government to increase funding for livestock. Right Honorable Speaker, as Minister of this region, I'm very happy that the matter of livestock has now generated debate in this region, and I'm extremely happy about this. Some time ago, Right Honorable Speaker, I remember now when I was still a student, the first time I met on Dr. Abed Bonica. I think I'd gone to do something in Namulong. Then by some coincidence, I met him. He was already in politics. And I heard he was doing fish. So I asked him, sir, can you help me also how to grow fish? He told me in Uganda, Omona, muinetaka. Murimeko mwanyi, how do you say, to keep, murimeko mwanyi, murunde kunte, mufune sente. That's what Abed Bonica told me. These were very, very many years. And I'm very, very happy that I have heard Honorable Abed Bonica saying the same thing. That's in Uganda. In English, he told me, Omona, you people have land. Please plant coffee, rear cattle, and get money. That's what Dr. Abed Bonica told me really very many years ago, and I'm very, very happy that the debate about livestock is catching up in this region. Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to inform this Parliament, one, that livestock farming is one of those investments that for us who are working in this region are trying to promote. And luckily in this region, right, Honourable Speaker, livestock farming is not a new thing. This region farmed in livestock. In fact, if you look at the data, by around between 1980 to 1985, the biggest population of livestock, actually, right, Honourable Speaker, was in the eastern and northern part of Uganda. We got disorganized because of the insurgencies and the wars here. I'm very happy that now we are talking about livestock. Very briefly, right, Honourable Speaker, I want to inform and also urge the members here why this is very important. First of all, right, Honourable Speaker, I am very happy that the people in northern Uganda here, I don't know why Abed Wanika, doctor, was shy to accept his rebuke for the leaders in northern Uganda here. It is until recently when the Balalos, migrating cattle keepers, began competing with the people in the north here that they valued, they realized, I think, that it is important to keep cattle. And again, like you said, right, Honourable Speaker, I love, on the matters of poverty and minds of change, we love to speak the truth. The leaders in northern Uganda here, you must lead by example. Many of you have land and at least have some resources. Please, it is easier for you to tell the people to rear or keep livestock. When you're also doing, people love to do what they see their leaders doing. But again, like right, Honourable Speaker, I also want to say that livestock farming is actually complementary in agriculture. Livestock farming gives you many other things. The Honourable MP who talked about leading by example, Honourable Apoy-chan, talked about biogas, but there are so many other benefits from livestock. For instance, the manure. If you talk about growing coffee, you talk about growing bananas, you need manure. And in this region, getting manure is very, very difficult. And it has been very difficult for people in this region to grow bananas, to grow coffee, to grow other forms of vegetables because they cannot easily get manure, which is actually now more expensive. In fact, there are people who now get more money from manure than even from their own livestock itself. Secondly, right, Honourable Speaker, the biggest challenge you're seeing with the livestock here, the biggest problem I've seen with livestock, right, Honourable Speaker, in this region also is the issue of breeding, of the breeds that have been given to northern Uganda here. Right, Honourable Speaker, we have held so many discussions with the Honourable Minister, I'm happy he's also here, to ask the Minister of Agriculture to guide the people in northern Uganda what kind of breeds of animals are good for economic benefits and also for the survival of this region. Many years, right, Honourable Speaker, through government interventions, a number of animals were supplied to this region. But I can also say that very many of them died, especially the foreign or the Frisian dairy animals. So we are really urging the people and also urging colleagues we work with and MDAs that are partners in restocking this region to bring to the people breeds that can survive. For dairy, we are meaning. Let me finish. I'll give you opportunity, Honourable. So, right, Honourable, we are saying that when we talk about breeds of cattle, we mean dairy and beef, but all this needs to be breeds that are useful to the people. And we are now telling the Minister of Agriculture to begin teaching the people here that we can still have dairy animals which are not necessarily Frisians. There are other breeds like the brown jerseys and others which can survive in this region. And this is what I talked about yesterday, that us as government, we must guide the people and get them correctly. The same as beef. These small animals that honorable member talked about, that looks like a big goat, are no longer useful. And there are very many in some of these communities of ours. So the fact that we have a lot of land and a lot of grass for free, right, Honorable, I think this is a very good decision to tell the people to keep animals. But important, right, Honorable Speaker, I also want to tell the people that it is important, and there is no mistake in doing livestock, because like the President keeps talking about doing business with Chura. If you look at the global market, right, Honorable Speaker, the global beef market is about $645 billion US dollars. And there's a lot of market for beef that come from Uganda. And within the country itself, the national market, the volume of beef market in Uganda is about 2.9 billion US dollars. And China, that imports a lot of beef from elsewhere also, is about $273 billion as for this year. So there's a huge market for beef, and they encourage the farmers, people in northern Uganda who have land to rear animals. Honorable,
thank you.
give information.
Thank you. Honorable Minister. Let's first hear from the Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable
PPP,
Minister.
you're complaining they are giving you permission. There's only one chair in the House. I'm going to give, I know your issue. I'm going to give you. Let's hear from the Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, before I respond to some of the issues that have been raised by the members, allow me to thank the movers of the motion, and also allow me to agree that Northern Uganda has a lot of resources, which resources would be useful in having livestock farming as a commercial or as a key commercial activity in this area. And I agree that where livestock farming is being practiced currently, a lot of lives have been transformed. So we are not exploring. As a country, we know that livestock farming is a very profitable enterprise. So I thank the movers, and I actually support the motion as well. Regarding the issues raised, key among the issues is the requirement by my ministry to involve the communities and the leaders in northern Uganda in determining what kind of livestock would be more suitable to the various categories of people or farmers in northern Uganda. Of course, we have several received guidance from His Excellency the President, and he has also repeated it here, and we have also seen what is happening in the other side of the cattle corridor. The guiding principles, we know them, but we shall come back and in a participatory way determine which animals are more suitable for where. I want to request the leaders that when time comes, we work together in this, but we also work together in mindset change, because that's the starting point. It's not a matter of giving out animals, but we have to educate the masses. We have to inform the masses. And then with us as a ministry, we shall, after that, continue to give extension services to the population. With that, Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to say that once we get the resolution of Parliament, my ministry will go to Cabinet with a paper so that Cabinet can consider the proposal and then accordingly work out how to prioritize livestock farming in northern Uganda. I beg to move.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, before you leave, this information Honorable Court has on us.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I want to say that I support the motion of livestock farming for the people of northern Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to give information to this House, especially to the Minister for Northern Region. We have been talking here about Achwa Ranch. Achwa Ranch is here in northern Uganda, and it is in my constituency in the sub-county called Angagura. And this Achwa Ranch land was given to the government way back in 1964 by Acholi district, and the land in the area belongs to the clan of the paramount chief to which I belong. And this Achwa Ranch you have talked about, I am happy that you have budgeted for that big sum of money to revamp the Achwa Ranch. But the information I want to give you, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the Achwa Ranch we are talking about has been completely depleted. The land has been given to different kinds of people, which I don't think you will still get any space to revamp it the way you want to do it. Land has been given to a group called Banuti. Land is given to Nagrik. Land is given to some former MPs who have put themselves together called Gravity. Land has been given to some group called NEC. Land has been given to Panacea and Poor Organic. I want to ask these hard questions. That whose land is this? Does it belong to Uganda livestock industry? Does it belong to Nagrik and Maif? Or it belongs to the community of the Payera clan? This is the question I want the minister to answer. Because if you are saying that you are going to put the livestock there, which livestock will help into improvement of the livestock industry, farming of the people of northern Uganda? I'm sure it is not going to work. My woman MP, Pascal, had already told you, Nagrik has been there with the livestock industry from the time that animals were put back after the ranch was destroyed. That was in 2014. Now, this land also, we need the government, if they say the land belongs to them, to open the boundary to separate this land from the government ranch with the people's land. The other issue I want to inform you about is that during that time, in this ranch, we had a veterinary institute which was vandalized by that time. This veterinary institute should be put back so that the people can be trained there on veterinary issues that will help the whole of northern region. So this is the information I wanted to inform you, that even the time that Nagrik has been there, no work or help has been given to the community. The ranch is guarded by the military. My chairman is in the gallery. Even the chairman, LC5, entered that Nagrik farm when the Committee of Agriculture went there. The manager of the ranch has never come out to educate the people on how they should change the livestock.
Thank you. Honorable Santa, the land we are talking about, the one I talked about, where we budgeted for 354 million USD dollar, is for Nagrik. Nagrik is a government institution. It is not private like the one of the MPs. It's a government institution, and that's the one they want to revamp. So it is not some other land. But I agree with you that the institute must be put back if we are going to look after cows in that place. But the rest can be answered by the minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm talking about the land. It does not belong to Nagrik. This is what I am saying. Thank you.
I am talking about what is documented in the Parliament, that we approved a loan to Nagrik for 165 square miles, and the amount was $354 million US dollars, unless the land is not there.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the land that you have talked about is the land that my ministry knows. But from the Honourable Member's presentation, what I can see is that there are some conflict over ownership at that location. My proposal, Right Honourable Speaker, is that you allow my ministry
Honourable, just a minute.
to
Honourable
go.
Ikoja? Is Honourable Ikoja still here? Chairman of National Economy? The deputy is here. What was the money for climate smart meant for that we approved in the House?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. It is true, Nagrik was one of the beneficiaries, but it is also true, Right Honourable Speaker, that some time back, the President cleared Banuti ranches to get 10 square miles from that same ranch. So there may be other issues, but there's also portion owned by, and initially, the whole land was under Nagrik. So the other issues of who took what later, I think the minister can better explain.
We still have one report. I thought one of you was bringing a motion. Yes?
Right Honourable Speaker, last year we had a serious issue of conflict in Aswa Ranch over the land and Gotafoyo. As leaders from Macholi sub-region, we gave some roles to some members of parliament to do a thorough research, which Honorable Wapenduzi was the one leading the research. Right Honorable Speaker, this information has been gathered together and presented to the government of the Republic of Uganda, and there is a common position that is agreeable. If you want some update on the issue of the land that we are talking about, Honorable Wapenduzi has a detailed information about that. And I wish you give him the opportunity to present it, then you'll understand more about the land we are talking about. Thank you very much.
Where is Mapenduchi? Mapenduchi. Honorable Mapenduchi. Chairman Mao, you're most welcome.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you very much. I'm happy that this matter of Aswa Ranch has been brought. It is true, Right Honourable Speaker, that last year the chair of Acholi Parliamentary Group assigned myself to gather information with a view of resolving the Aswa matter, and also assigned Honourable Tony Awanyi to look at the question of Gorapoyo. Right Honourable Speaker, I did my part, gathered and got every document, including government documents right from 1965 to date. And the details are very clear on the question of ownership. There are 3 critical issues that we are looking to address. One is the question of who owns Aswa Ranch. Two is the question of boundary, the boundary question.
Opening.
And three, how the ranch is currently being used. And we have been able to provide all the facts. We had meetings with the different stakeholders, NAGRIC, Uganda Livestock Industries, the local people, and different groups. Right Honorable Speaker, I have a suggestion, because I have a detailed report plus all the attachments that unfortunately I did not carry. My suggestion is that through your Right Honorable Speaker, you can direct to cause a meeting that would bring the Ministry of Finance, NAGRIC, Uganda Livestock Industries, and all the private groups that have been given land in Aswa Ranch. Because, Honorable Speaker...
But Honorable Collard said that the report was with the government.
Right, Honorable Speaker, it is true the report is available. But what I am saying is that there is need. Because, Honorable Speaker, the different groups that got land inside Aswa are waiving documents that were issued by the President as presidential directives. And our biggest concern is that, number one, the manner in which the population is being treated in that area is not fair. Number two, the purpose for which Aswa Ranch was established is no longer what is going on in the ground. And number three, there is need to have meaningful discussion to ensure that that ranch, with the help of NAGRIC, is used for the purpose of helping the region, not benefiting individuals who are not supporting the cause of the region.
Honorable Minister. All matters are serious.
Right Honorable Speaker, as you intervened, I was requesting that you allow my ministry to consult widely and then come back and report to Parliament with a comprehensive report.
Gilbert, you have something to say? Let me hear from Gilbert first.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of Aswa Ranch is very serious. I request Honourable Mapenduzi to lay the document on table so that Parliament deliberate, Parliament discussed, let Mapenduzi present on the floor.
Not lay on table, let's have the report presented to the House.
Thank you. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to appreciate your directives. And finally, Right Honourable Speaker, as Honourable Migade stated, it looks as if people are distributing actually land like they are giving chicken to an individual. You heard he made mention that 10 square miles was given to another group. 20 square miles was given to other people. I really feel, Right Honourable Speaker, we should not take our land for granted. The Aswa Ranch was given to Balalo, and the President directed that Balalo must leave Acholi land. That was a clear directive from the President.
You're diverting from the debate. You're diverting from the debate. And somebody said it is good we are with this Balalo. We can be able to copy how to look after cows from them. We need to coexist. But also, at the same time, if I remember what Mama said, Honorable PP said, that the land originally was for government. Not so. It was given to government. Actually, even this Parliament, the 11th Parliament, when we leave Parliament, we are also going to apply and they give us some. So that we form an association. Yes. Because if they can give, we shall also get. Honourable members, I put a question that the motion for a resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize and increase those resource allocation to West Nile, Acholi, Lango, and Karamoja regions for livestock farming to accelerate socio-economic transformation be adopted with amendments. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Lucy, there is a response to your issue on chicken pox.
Monkeypox. Thank you, right Honorable
Monkeypox.
Speaker. Yeah, thank you. I made a very quick call and I got the update from the Director General Health Services at the Ministry of
Honorable
Health.
Lucy Akello of Amor, can you listen?
Yes, I've been informed, right Honorable Speaker, the current update. There are 4 cases of monkeypox in the country, confirmed. Out of the 4 cases, 2 cases came from Congo, and they were admitted in Bwera Hospital. They improved, and they were discharged. Number 2, the 2 other cases came from Kampala. They were detected, confirmed, and right now they are admitted in Entebbe Hospital at the isolation unit. Madam Speaker, as I sat down, immediately I got a message from the Director General confirming that the case in Amuru District that was raised by Honorable Lucy Akello has been confirmed positive. So we have got a total of 3 active cases of monkeypox, and all these 3 are admitted. For the one in Amuru case, Amuru District, of course, each district has got isolation facility. They will be isolated. They will be given supportive care. They will be given conservative care until they improve, then discharge, like those in Bwera Hospital. Lastly, Madam Speaker, as I said, the ministry has developed case definition already. There are probably cases, suspected cases, and confirmed cases. So let's continue to be vigilant so that we detect these cases early and we refer them to the appropriate surveillance system within the district so that we do the needful and they are taken care. Madam Speaker, permit me lastly before I sit down, there was an issue that was raised by Honorable the Member of Parliament in Amoro, Holanya, about the interns. And he put it, I thought I could say something, that no interns from northern Uganda were deployed. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform this House, as the Minister of Health has already informed the House, that indeed it is true, in the country this year around, there were a total of 2,860 interns. This is medical doctors interns, nurses, and the pharmacist. The medical doctors has both the dentist and the other line. So, Madam Speaker, the ministry so far deployed 1,590 medical interns. The remaining from the stock that were not deployed is a total of 1,270. Madam Speaker, the criteria that has been set is clear. All the medical schools, which are quite many, that has trained doctors, nurses, pharmacists, those that have completed 2022, they are the priority who were deployed, including medical doctors from Gulu Medical School, including interns from Arua, including nurses from Lira University. And I want to lay the anxiety that all those interns from northern Uganda, especially from Arua Muni University, Gulu University, Lira University, who completed before last year, they were equally deployed. It is true, Madam Speaker, when these doctors, nurses, pharmacists complete their training, they need to translate the theory into care. The longer they stay, the more they're de-skilled. They need to put the skill into practice. But the challenge the Ministry of Health has got on the table, they need 18 billion to deploy the remaining stocks of intern. So I thought I could give that information so that this House go, knowing that interns from northern Uganda, universities from northern Uganda, were equally treated like any other university across this country. The criteria was clear. So it's my prayer as a former teacher in the medical school, and I say this because I've confirmed with Dr. Kaduchu, who is the dean at the medical school, that these doctors were deployed, apart from those who completed recently. It's my prayer that the sooner the better these doctors get deployed to practice what they have learned so that they manage better and their skills are sustained for the good of the country. I beg to submit.
And I want you to thank Dr. Kaduchu for the information. Next, yes?
Madam Speaker, I want to thank Dr. Kaduchu for giving us this information. Madam Minister, I want to bring to your attention a report that is just coming from a Lego border. And this is highlighting the challenges in regards to the monkeypox management. And one of them is they are lacking the work tools, and some equipment are missing. 2, emergency response facilitations are not up to date. 3, the isolation is not given a perimeter fence. And then 4, no facilitation to cater for the suspected client under isolation. And then finally, no transport means and facilitation to quickly and easily move samples from the Elego to the next collection hub. And finally, Madam Speaker, since COVID-19, as leaders from Amuru, we raised the issue of the lack of health center 3 at the border. When we raised this issue, government started by starting to construct a health center 3 facility. But along the way, this construction stalled up to now. How can a whole international border not have a health facility in the midst of all these emergencies that are coming? What has happened to that construction work that started over 2 years ago? Where? And I've been asking these questions, I have not got the answers. I think we need to really revive this, because emergencies will always come at these borders. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Can we discuss that in tomorrow's debate when they have presented a report on health? So that's one of the first things you should be able to answer tomorrow. Dr. Bedi.
Item 7.
We are going to have a very brief report. It's basically giving us a report on the pledges.
Item 7, motion for adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Government Assurances and Implementation on the status of government assurances on the compensation of victims of war and insurgencies in the sub-regions of West Nile, Acholi, Lao, Karamoja, Teso, and Sebei.
Thank you. Pursuant to Rule 179 of the Rules of Procedure, the chairperson will present the report in regard to government assurances and implementation of projects.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, I beg to lay the report of the Government Assurance and Implementation Committee on the status of the assurance to compensate victims of war and insurgencies in West Nile, Acholi, Lango, Teso, Kalamoja, and Sebei sub-regions, and the attachments thereof. I beg to lay.
Please lay. Please give us the summary of each region.
Right Honorable, I beg to lay the minutes of the meeting of the Committee of Government Assurance and Implementation. I beg to lay. Thank you, Right Honorable. I'm going to do a summary from 1987 to 2005, the northern Uganda and eastern regions of the country were ravaged by several wars and insurgencies, which led to loss of lives, livestock, and properties. In 2003, Cabinet pressed a moratorium on ex gratia payment for compensation claims by persons affected by wars and insurgencies. Consequently, claimants and beneficiaries from Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-regions filed numerous lawsuits against government in the High Court of Gulu, Lila, Soroti, Arua, and Mbale. In 2008, His Excellency the President directed the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to amicably settle court cases and verify all claimants, irrespective of whether they took government to court or not. In 2016, the Interministerial Committee conducted a verification exercise of war debit claimants stroke beneficiaries in Acholi, Lango, Teso, and Teso sub-regions. In 2020, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs initiated a validation exercise in the three sub-regions of Acholi, Lango, and Teso. And in 2021, the verification exercise was dissolved to the district structures. On 29th July 2021, the Right Honorable Prime Minister confirmed to the Parliament that government is in the process of verifying livestock compensation claims for the areas of Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-region, including Kalamoja, West Nile, Sebei, Bukedi, and the Busoga sub-regions that were affected by the insurgency. On the 3rd of August 2021, the Attorney General also assured Parliament that he would give a report where the government was going and in what direction it was going in a fortnight, so that Parliament can know what government was thinking. On the 18th of August 2021, the Deputy Attorney General reaffirmed before the Parliament that the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs was conducting verification of livestock compensation claims in the areas which were affected by insurgency. He also informed the Parliament that other sub-regions affected by the insurgencies were to be incorporated in the next phase. These included Kalamoja, West Nile, Sebei, Bukedi, and the Busoga sub-region. He also informed the Parliament that all livestock claims and compensation would be settled within the financial year 2021-2022. He informed the Parliament that livestock compensation rates would be harmonized across respective sub-regions. He reported that he informed the Parliament that a report with the final assessment was to be submitted to the Cabinet and Parliament for consideration. Right Honorable, allow me to go to the committee findings, observation, and recommendation. We looked at the registration and verification of the claimant/beneficiaries. In 2020, the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs initiated a validation exercise in the 3 sub-regions of Acholi, Lango, and Teso, and displayed the lists of the claimants at the district headquarters and sub-counties. The verification exercise intended to confirm the genuine claimants and beneficiaries, stock beneficiaries. The following were the number of claimants, stock beneficiaries recorded. Acholi sub-region, the beneficiaries which were verified were 16,946. Lango sub-region, 42,024. Teso sub-region, 33,664, giving a total of 92,634. The committee found out that the registration and verification exercise was marred by discrepancies and inconsistencies as discussed below. For Acholi and Lango sub-region, in Acholi sub-region, verified lists of claimants, stock beneficiaries did not involve some of the stakeholders, and the lists of claimants which were verified by the interministerial committee did not capture all the befitting claimants, stock beneficiaries. For instance, in Gulu district, 5,733 claimants were left out. In Kole district, 8,471 claimants were reported not verified. In Teso sub-region, the Interministerial Verification Committee only captured members of the Teso Animal and Property Compensation Code TAPCO. 14,499 befitting claimants, stock beneficiaries from 9 districts across the entire Teso sub-region were left out. This figure of 500, it is supposed to be 200,500 claimants. Under the group headed by the former Kapilabiongo County MP Ochen Julius, they were also left out. And we have attached their list. Kalamoja, Sebei, and West Nile sub-region. In the case of Kalamoja, Sebei, and West Nile sub-regions, the Attorney General stated that the registration and verification exercise of claimants and beneficiaries was scheduled for the next phase, subject to the guidance of His Excellency the President. However, the committee established that data forms from Kalamoja and Sebei sub-regions has never been collected for verification. They distributed the forms to the sub-counties, but they have never collected them. They distributed them in 2020. Up to now, those data forms are still in the field. The committee observed that there were major discrepancies in the number of verified claimants, stock beneficiaries, with actual number of the benefiting claimants, stock beneficiaries in all the affected sub-regions, including Acholi, Lango, and Teso. There was a gross negligence of duty on the part of the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs officials with respect to the way they handled the claimant stock beneficiary registration and verification exercise in all affected regions, sub-regions. The committee recommendations. 1. The Minister of Justice should conclude the claimant stock beneficiary registration and verification exercise in all affected sub-regions, including Acholi, Bugishu, Lango, Teso, West Nile, Kalamoja, and Sebei, within the period of 6 months. This is to ensure that the verified amounts are included in the next year's financial 2025-26 budget. 2. 2, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should address all complaints relating to the cases of claimants, stock beneficiaries, who are excluded from the initial verification exercise with a view of compiling a more inclusive list of verified claimants, stock beneficiaries. 3, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should prepare a comprehensive verification report on compensation of all victims of war and insurgents and present it to the Parliament within 6 months from the time of this report adopted. Number 2, we looked at the determination of compensation claims and rates. The Attorney General stated that the compensation to the claimants were determined through a verification and validation exercise to establish the number of livestock lost per claimant, stock beneficiary, and the agreed rate was 1,050,000 per head of cattle. And this was arrived at after consultation with the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry, and MAIF, and the Fisheries, which is MAIF. And this was done 3 years ago. However, in many instances, the numbers of livestock previously verified were significantly reduced by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs without providing any explanation to the claimants' stock beneficiaries. Such cases were reported across Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-regions. The current market price per head of cattle in today's open market could be slightly higher, and no information on the current compensation rates used for other categories of livestock such as goats, sheep has been provided. Where we went, people lost, apart from cattle, they lost sheep, they lost goats, they lost donkeys, and in some cases, pigs. The committee observed, number 1, that whereas the compensation package for claimants, stock beneficiary was determined through a verification and validation exercise, many complained that the number of livestock validated by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs did not reflect the exact losses incurred during the insurgents. The rate used for compensation was not based on the current market price. The committee recommendations. The Minister of Justice should base its payment to the claimant stock beneficiaries on the exact number of livestock lost as determined by the respective verification committees at the local government level. Number 2, the livestock compensated should relate to the established rate. For example, 1,050,000 per head of cattle. This amount should be uniform throughout the sub-regions. Right Honorable discovered that in some cases, some people are paid 500,000, 300,000, not 1 million for a cow. Number 3, the IGG should investigate the varying payments for head of cattle, per head of cattle in the different regions against the agreed amount as per the verification exercise. Number 4, government should revise the compensation value per animal to meet the current market price per head of cattle, goat, sheep, and donkey. Number 3, we looked at the government funding for compensation claims. In the financial year 2021-2022, His Excellency the President directed that 150 billion be provided to kickstart, and the keyword is to kickstart compensations. However, the committee found out that during the financial year 2021-2022, only 50 billion was made available to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs for payment of the verified claimants' stock beneficiary in 3 sub-regions of Acholi, Lango, and Teso. According to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, these funds were distributed equally among the 27 districts and 2 cities. And the districts and cities, they are mentioned. And every district stroke city received 1.72 billion. Further, funds totaling 676.3 million bounced due to various reasons, including invalid bank account numbers, irregular title of the bank accounts, closure of the bank accounts, and dormant accounts. This led to the return of these funds, unpaid funds, to the consolidated fund. Omoro and Kumi districts did not receive payment during the financial year 2021-22 due to what the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs termed as defective submissions, which submissions were returned to the respective districts for remedial action. Consequently, the allocations to these districts with defective submissions were pulled together and reallocated to other eligible claimants, stock beneficiaries. The committee established that in the financial year 2022-2023, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs had a budget provision of 30 billion for compensation of verified claimants, stock beneficiaries, but those funds were not released for that purpose. In the financial year 2023-2024, a budget allocation of 20 billion was made available to the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs for payment of claimants and beneficiaries in Acholi, Langa, and Teso sub-regions. Out of this, 71.3 billion was received, and UGX 69.9 billion was paid out to the claimants' stock beneficiaries. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs stated that due to date, a total of 121.28 billion has been released to the ministry for compensation of claimants and stock beneficiaries in Acholi and Teso sub-region, and 119.24 billion has been paid out to the respective claimants, and the details they attached in the report, what money went where. The committee was informed by the Deputy Attorney General and the Minister of Finance that as at 30th June 2024, the total outstanding liability for compensation claims so far verified amounted to 472.72 billion, and that the Minister of Finance had allocated only 40 billion for the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs in the budget of the financial year 2024-2025 to cater for the outstanding claims. The committee observed, number one, that the Ministry of Finance and Planning and Economic Development had not provided for a budget in the medium term to cater for compensation of claimant stock beneficiaries due to lack of comprehensive verification report on the compensation of all victims of war and insurgency. The Ministry of Finance did not have a plan in place as it had not yet established the current total budget requirement for compensating all the claimants, stock beneficiaries in all the sub-regions which were affected by war and insurgency. Number three, the annual budgetary allocation made by government toward compensation of claimant stock beneficiary were not commensurate to the outstanding claimant debit requirement. The committee recommendations. The committee recommends that, one, the Ministry of Justice should establish total amount required to clear all claims. The Ministry of Finance should provide the required amount to settle all the compensation claims within the financial year 2025-2026. This plan should be presented to the Parliament within 6 months from the time this report is adopted. Number two, the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should at all times confirm the status of bank accounts for individual claimants scheduled for payment by sharing the list with the local governments and other stakeholders prior to effecting any payments to avoid bouncing of the payments made. Number four, we looked at the actual payment of the claimant stock beneficiary. The Attorney General stated that the outstanding liability of the claims as of 30th June was 400. I've already read this. However, upon actual analysis of the verified payment list submitted by the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the committee established that the actual outstanding total liability for compensation claims as at 30th June 2024 was 208.72 billion, not 472, leaving a variance of 264 billion, whose purpose was never explained by the Attorney General. The Attorney General reported to the committee that the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs had so far paid 119.245 billion, but the committee discovered the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs had actually paid only 114.7 billion to the claimants. This leaves an unexplained variance of 4.495 billion, and the details of the payments are also have been attached. Furthermore, the committee discovered a number of inconsistencies in payment to the claimants' stock beneficiaries across the affected sub-regions. These included, but not limited, for example, in Pade district, out of the 1,900, only 800 had been paid. Right Honorable, allow me not to go through those details. The members can read. Let me go to the committee observations. Number one, the committee observed that the Attorney General had not explained the variance of 4.495 billion arising from the contradiction between the amounts of funds reported by Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs as money paid amounting to 119 billion and the actual on which we added according to the information they gave us. Number two, a variance of 264 billion was not explained, arising from the contradiction, again, from the information that was supplied. Number four, the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs effected payments to individual claimants' bank accounts before ascertaining the status of those accounts, resulting in bounce payment. Number four, there was no clear communication between the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the various local governments, and associations of the work claimants on the verification and payments to be made. There were allegations of fraud and other financial malpractice in the payment process, which have made the genuine claimants to miss out on their payment. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs did not conduct due diligence to ensure that claimants have active bank accounts through which payments for compensation should be made. The claimants are incurring costs of maintaining active bank accounts due to without getting payments. Recommendations, committee recommendations. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should at all times confirm status of bank accounts for individual claimants scheduled for payment by sharing the list with all key stakeholders, including local governments, associations for the work claimants, prior to effecting any payment. Number two, the Ministry of Justice and and Constitutional Affairs should put in place clear communication channels with local government to facilitate timely feedback on payment of claimants. Number three, the local leadership, right from villages, parishes, sub-counties, and districts, should be made aware of the exercise of identification and profiling of deserving beneficiaries in an attempt to generate accurate data. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should consider other cost-effective payment options for the claimants whose amounts are 5 million and below. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should structure payments as one-off for each of the claimant instead of piecemeal or installment payments strategy that is currently affected. Right Honorable, where we went, we found someone is claiming 22 cattle, heads of cattle, and has been paid 1 or 2. And they are there, they are waiting. The district verification committee teams should, with immediate effect, stop receiving payments on behalf of claimants and charging them 10%. We discovered that some of them are charging these claimants. A forensic audit on the payment process should be carried out to address the glaring discoveries of fraud. Right Honorable, general recommendations. The general observations. The committee observed that there was no clear policy framework to guide the implementation of compensation-related interventions in the country. There was no communication between district officials, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and the claimants. The claimants did not know how best and where to get the information in regard to their payments. General recommendation, number 1. The government should put in place a comprehensive policy framework to streamline the compensation process across the country as and when they arise. Number 2, the government should document, verify, validate all war livestock claimants, cattle rustling claimants, and related animal losses arising from war and conflicts. Number 3, government should prioritize payment of elderly claimants before they pass on. Right Honorable, we met these men. One of the last one we met was in Sebei, 94 years. He's been waiting for his payment, and government, we're asking government to prioritize. Number 4, registration, verification, and validation of claimants should be done with transparency to avoid continuous litigations. Number 5, subsequent livestock compensation claims for the other 3 sub-regions of Karamoja, Sebei, and West Nile should be handled with utmost urgency. Government is currently handling Teso, Lango, and Acholi. The other 3 sub-regions, they are waiting, and government should handle with urgency. Number 4, government should consider and define a program to include restocking and resettling of claimants. Right Honorable, I've heard you clearly on this. Restocking is key if we are going to build the economy of these regions, and so that they can become part of the national economy. Apart from compensation, there should be restocking. Government should put in place mitigation measures against cattle rustling in the sub-region of Sebei, Karamoja, and Teso, including but not limited to the deployment of radio frequency identification. Radio, let me repeat this because it's very important. On those herds which are near places which are prone to cattle rustling, there are devices called radio frequency identification. You can track down any animal, whether it has gone to Kenya or to Sudan. You can know whether it has gone in a claro anywhere. You can track. We should deploy. Government should invest in the education of communities where cattle rustling is endemic as one of the long-term remedies. Government should deepen the disarmament exercise and improve security to guarantee security of people and property. And lastly, compensation should be coordinated and handled by one government agency to avoid duplication and waste of resources. In Karamoja, we found out that the Prime Minister's office is involved in compensation, and the Minister of Justice, Constitutional Affairs also, they are involved. There need to be compensation. There needs to be coordination. In conclusion, the insurgencies and the armed conflict coupled with cattle rustling caused loss of lives, livestock, and other property, which devastated the socio-economic structure of the people in the affected sub-regions. Government committed to compensate the victims for their lost livestock. The compensation is not only justified, but also long overdue. Government's commitment is yet to be fully fulfilled. The process was marred with fraud, procedural irregularities, undue delays, and insufficient funding. It is only just and fair that compensations are administered timely, fairly, transparently, and without prejudice. Government should fulfill their commitment, or come out honestly and declare their capacity to fulfill their pledges. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I beg to report.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Bedi, Acting Leader of Opposition. Thank you. Silo? Attorney General, you have something to say? First. Let him say what he has to say first.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you, my senior colleague, Dr. Bed, and colleagues, members of Parliament. The report as presented by the Chair of the Committee of Government Assurances is not a glowing tribute to the exercise. It paints a bleak picture. I do have answers to a number of the issues raised. I may not have answers to a number of the issues raised. And you don't know, with your guidance, Right Honourable Speaker, I would have wanted, once the report is shared, now that it is brought to Parliament, to liaise with some of my technical people, issues of the figures, some of the things he has raised, so that we prepare a comprehensive response, issue by issue. We present them to Parliament for a general debate. I beg to request.
Honourable Minister. Your Minister.
Madam Speaker, first permit me to apologize for being absent when you opened the House yesterday. I was obligated to welcome delegates from 22 countries attending the first ever Africa Women's Conference on Intellectual Property, and I had to be there to welcome Her Excellency the Vice President. But this morning, though I arrived late, I was in time to listen to the speech of His Excellency the President. Please kindly accept my apology, and I welcome everybody else to the heart of Northern Uganda, the warm heart of Northern Uganda. Madam Speaker, I would like to thank the Honorable Dr. Bed Bwanika for being a most eloquent spokesperson of those who are victims of broken promises. I hope some elders will be identified to give him a name from Northern Uganda because of the eloquence with which he spoke. This shows that even though geographically we are in Gulu in Northern Uganda, but we are articulating national issues, and our aim is to integrate the whole of Uganda. In relation to what has been presented, let me stress that these payments are ex gratia. Ex gratia is a Latin word which means the payments are made out of a sense of moral obligation rather than because of any legal requirement or arising from an admission of liability. It is a gesture of goodwill. It is part of the national reconciliation process. And On behalf of the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, I wish to inform the House, Madam Speaker, that Cabinet has discussed this matter, and I do believe that since, with your permission, we may be given up to 6 months to come back with a comprehensive response, I believe that by that time we will have held the consultation that His Excellency the President talked about. We are supposed to bring together all stakeholders and we tackle this problem together. I want to assure you that the Ministry of Justice is not hiding any information, and we will abide by the resolution contained in the report. And like the Deputy Attorney General said, I wish to request, Madam Speaker, that the real debate should take place when we come with our response. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. There's a procedure matter. It is also not...
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, this report has already been presented in the House. And our rule of procedure requires that a report that is presented is debated, whether improvement is given to, or there are certain omissions that are supposed to be given to complement the strength of the report. And for that matter, Madam Speaker, wouldn't it be procedurally right for us to give our inputs into this report while we wait for the other one, and we kind of like combine eventually? But this has to be debated and then improvement made on it. Are we proceeding right, Madam Speaker? Thank you.
Just a minute. I want to refer you to 204, Rule 204. (2046), notwithstanding sub-rule 5, where sub-rule 5 is there, debate on the report may, in the discretion of the Speaker, may end so. We can even decide to adopt this report as it is, and we ask for action under Rule 220. Yes, Attorney General, you wanted to say something? Just a minute.
Right Honourable Speaker, the report as presented made some very serious allegations, some of which touch on the integrity of the actors in the ministry. Right Honourable Speaker, I humbly pray we be given 2 weeks exactly to prepare a response. Then we can have a discussion. I'll give an example. The report indicates that while my ministry, while the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs said the outstanding amount was 400 billion, the findings of the committee are to the effect that it is 200 billion. And they go ahead to ask why the discrepancy. Now, I don't know whether they are the right ones or we are the right ones. Some of these questions can only be answered by us, myself, engaging with the technical people and giving me a proper response, which I would use to present a response to Parliament.
The issues the Minister is talking about, the discrepancy is borders to criminality. So if we are to discuss on something that it doesn't have proof on it, there's a procedure matter?
Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. The issue we are dealing with is actually in the middle and the heart of the issues that people want to listen to in northern Uganda. And this issue is started of some of the things that happened in 1986. And Right Honorable Speaker, if there is anything that people have been talking to us, the leaders of northern Uganda, that must come out clear in this sub-regional meeting or regional meeting in Gulu City is the issue of compensation. Right Honorable Speaker, this Deputy Attorney General has been at the center of this issue for a long time and is a source of confusion as per our knowledge as the leaders from northern Uganda. And if there is anything that he wants, I thought he was going to ask you for only this night to consult his technical team so that the debate takes place tomorrow when he's here presenting the facts he has found from his technical team. Right Honorable Speaker, if we leave this place in Gulu without discussing this particular report, which is at the heart of this then we are in problem.
Honorable Call. Did you say that the Deputy Attorney General is a source of confusion? Did you say that?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I am not withdrawing that statement because give me time to substantiate on that.
I am saying that is unparliamentary. You can use a better word. I have never known you for that.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
That is not the honorable call I know. Please.
Right, Honorable Speaker, for lack of better English, I would say he has been confusing the process.
Honorable call, back to the microphone. Can I have that withdrawn from the hand side? You can use something else, but not as a person confusing. You would equally feel bad.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
As at the beginning, I said, let's debate these issues with sanity.
Right, Honorable Speaker, let me remove
the same way you feel.
I apologize for using source of confusion, but I must say he has not been doing things right. I apologize for the other word. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Milton Obote, Milton Muma.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, during the background to the report that the chair was presenting, he did mention the regions, the sub-regions that are supposed to benefit from the war claims. Bukedi and Busoga were clearly mentioned. But when it came to regions that were verified, Busoga and Bukedi disappeared and died a natural death. When it came to recommendations, in the report, Busoga is not being mentioned anywhere. Right Honourable Speaker, before we debate, we need to consider the issue of war claims conclusively without handling piecemeal, like the report was on the floor of Parliament. I thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker, when we sit in a place like Gulu, we begin to debate better. And I appreciate this current location. If it were possible, we would extend our stay here to even 1 month, so that Gulu feels us and Parliament feels Gulu.
Actually, for you to feel Gulu, after this debate, you just turn your back behind and enjoy.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. God indeed chooses leaders, the ones he knows are able. That is why he chose you to put you in that seat. Thank you so much. In 2021-2022, Kumi and Omoro didn't get the money. And the claim was that the forms were not handled properly, according to the report. Who then was responsible for guiding the process? The Attorney General, if you think really things went well. Right, Honorable Speaker, we want to believe and accept that yes, they put in an effort, but something went wrong. And there is no way the committee will hide the truth. I want to appreciate the Honorable Buanik and the team. You have done your part. And the way I know for the last 8 years I've been in the Parliament, you first give us the members of Parliament to pour out our hearts, then for you come and respond to our cries later. But do not try to stop the debate. So I want to beg of the Attorney General and the team, allow Parliament to be Parliament, and then your house will be in order. Madam Speaker, when you look at what has happened, we are talking about compensating people for the loss of animals. But personally, I lost my father. Probably if he was still alive, and those days when I was struggling with education, he was there, I would have been in another level of protocol politically. I failed on that because I lost my father. Nobody is talking about compensation on the loss of lives. When are we going to do it? The TJ bill, the Transitional Justice Bill, is the one actually which is supposed to be summarizing all these matters that we are talking about. Why did the government list the TJ bill and leave it up to now? Because the policy that report is talking about should have been this one on TJ.
But
Transitional justice.
But we have granted that bill today.
And that's why I wanted to appreciate you. That is the route to follow. Transitional justice is the one that helps us to move from the time of war, tears, trauma, and now to peace. But also how we hold on to that peace is something big. And that is the meaning of that law. Accompanied with the National Legal Aid Bill, which the Committee on Legal is still holding in their cabinet up to now. Right, Honorable Speaker, I think this is the time for us to talk about these things. People have to be helped. We must compensate for lives. We must compensate for livestock. We must compensate for property. There are institutions, schools that lost trucks, the vehicles that they used to have, but they were taken by the soldiers. Up to now, no compensation was done. Actually, poverty has put its pedestal in the eastern and northern Uganda because we have not compensated the people. Therefore, as chair of the Greater North Parliamentary Forum, I want to beg that the Right Honourable Speaker, you continue with that heart of granting us that space to debate on compensation and supporting the people so that we see the boat balanced. Without that, other parts of the country will be okay, but the Greater North will be the one begging. We are economically kneeling. We need the support. I submit this for God and my country.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you so much.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to plead with you.
Thank you, Honourable. We need a reconciled report. Where there is a discrepancy of 400 and 200, it's really a very big figure. You're going to continue talking here until cows come back home. Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, I think it is a wise decision. Even looking at the time, it will be okay in my feeling that we give the Attorney General's chambers time to come here. They should have no excuse again. Then you give us, even if it's 1 week, let's debate on this very fat matter because it's a matter for national concern. Thank you.
Honourable Abudu, Honourable Felix.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I know the emotions went regards this subject. But one most important thing is we must be judicious. It's no use discussing a one-sided report. It's no use. We need to be fair to ourselves. We need to be fair to those people listening to us. Allegations have been made in that report. We have not had responses to those allegations. And us who want to meaningfully contribute to the allegations that have been made, we are begging that we want to hear the other side and we make a contribution. I mean, that's what our rules of procedure say. So, I strongly suggest, Right Honorable Speaker, that the learned Attorney General has asked for 2 weeks. But we are here until tomorrow. 2 weeks may be a long time. Why can't we give him until tomorrow? He comes up with specific responses to the allegations in that report, and we debate meaningfully. Then we can appreciate, because that is what. Or you want to educate me on the rules, madam? I'll listen.
Honorable Attorney General. First of all, before I get to Attorney General, Honorable Katuntu, I want the revised rules by next week. The amendments of the rules.
The rules are almost ready, and I can tell you that much as we wrote to the office, for example, of the leader of opposition, we got nothing. The government chief, the Prime Minister's office, the government chief whip responded. The clerk's office responded, and we have been processing. So by next week, you put us the order paper, there would be a report. There's no doubt about that.
We need the rules.
But I am only waiting, Right Honorable Speaker, for somebody who was putting me to order, really to listen to it, because...
let's get the order from... No, she was putting Honorable Katuntu to order.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity when I raised the point of order to Honorable Abdul Katuntu. Right Honorable Speaker, I attended this report. I've understood this report. The report is good, but it doesn't contain everything that we have to discuss here. Now, the Honorable Abdul Katuntu is proposing the Deputy Attorney General should go and respond to the report without getting issues from us who are on the ground here. And we are aware that some of the issues have not been captured. And we want to add on what has been captured in the report presented by Honorable Abed Bwanika. Right Honorable Speaker, is Honorable Katuntu in order to say that we should not discuss this report, yet we have to add more issues so that the Attorney General comprehensively comes up with the answers that this region deserves? Right Honorable Speaker, is he in order?
I want to refer you to Rule 179, the functions of Government Assurance and Implementation Committee. The Government Assurance Committee and Implementation Committee shall record and scrutinize the assurances, the promises, and undertakings given by the Minister, by the Prime Minister, President, Vice President, in the House from time to time. 2, monitor and evaluate the fulfillment of the government assurances. 3, exercise such functions that are not covered by paragraph A and B as may be allocated by the committee to the committee by the Speaker from time to time. We are scrutinizing the promises that were made. There was a promise that was made. Money was released. 130 billion shillings was released. In the report, they say 400 and what? there's a discrepancy of 209 billion? 209 million.
Right Honorable, that is not money release. That is
money given out to beneficiaries.
The money which has been given out, what the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs has reported is 119.24 billion so far. For us, when we added the total figure so far released, we found out that it is 114.7 billion. It has a discrepancy of 4.495 billion. The other money is the total of 472.72 is the total of the verified. What the minister say that they have verified, and this is the total amount. When they supplied us with the information, we added the figures because they are names of the outstanding. When we added the figures, it came to 208.7 billion. So there is a discrepancy from that figure which they are supplying us with what is in the document which they supplied us.
And for me, my reasoning is we must be able to reconcile these figures. And the reconciliation of these figures, and as Honorable Katun said, we are having a one-sided debate. And giving Honorable Kafusi a night to bring the figures that reconcile what is being said. You heard the President saying that there is a problem in the compensation. And this is the problem that we must resolve. If we fail to resolve between the Committee of Assurance and the Ministry, then we shall get a select committee that will go, or we shall ask for a forensic audit on this. Honorable Katuntu was still on the microphone.
Thank you very much for that wise ruling, Right Honorable Speaker. For every committee of Parliament, before it embarks on its task, it has its own terms of reference. Are we now going to set different terms of reference which were not captured by the committee? Then we'll be moving outside the committee report and actually the rules of procedure. And I'm really requesting my colleagues to appreciate the point that we need to get that side, and any issue that is going to be brought and it is outside the terms of reference of the committee. Now, how would the committee have investigated it? Because what we are debating now are issues that were investigated in the report. Right Honorable Speaker, I can relinquish the microphone.
Somebody is giving you an order. You first get the order. The order from Linda.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable. What we are discussing here is very important, and it has affected government for almost 26 years. And
first of all, before you say it has affected or not affected, I want to go back to what we agreed. No personal feelings.
Yes.
Let's debate with all the sanity. All of us, we are only limiting to northern Uganda. If I start talking about Uteso, you would actually cry. You go ahead.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable. I would like to seek your guidance whether Honorable Abdul Katuntu is in order trying to preempt what the members want to discuss. Right Honorable, what I know very well is that the report of the committee brought out some facts, but there are other facts that were not brought out. And when Attorney General is coming back to give his response, it's prudent enough for him to hear these other issues that the committee didn't capture, so that when he's coming back to respond to us, he will come with a comprehensive response. Right Honorable, it doesn't mean when we are going to react, we'll only talk about the discrepancies in the amount.
Okay, tell me what you want to add in the report.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable.
And we shall give the Attorney General 2 weeks to respond.
No, Right Honorable.
Exactly. Add what you want to add on the report.
Right Honorable, I still request that even if I say it, because these are things Attorney General even is knowing.
Linda,
Yes.
please add.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable. Right Honorable, in this issue of compensation, there are almost 3 categories. There are categories that went to court and the matter was concluded. There are categories that benefits from the president's guidance that those who even didn't go to court should be compensated. Like for us in Lango, there are categories that are on the 42,000 list, Right Honorable Speaker. Only 18,000 Attorney General accepted them to fill the data cards. 23,000 in the list, it was stating clearly that it was not approved for payment. And one of the claimants is Honorable Felix Okotogong. That they said he was not approved because he claimed frivolously. And another issue was on the reduction of people's claim. And when we are discussing this, and we don't iron out those other issues, this matter will still keep on coming back to government. That's why I was requesting that if it would be in order, you allow us to bring this, and we leave out the discrepancy on the money, but we bring out other issues so that when Attorney General is responding,
Honorable
we'll respond
Kotoko.
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is he in order?
He is in order.
Madam Speaker, and other members of Parliament, allow me thank the presenter, Honorable Abed Bwaneka, for his excellent, brilliant, and eloquent presentation. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Madam Speaker, this matter is not new to this Parliament. This matter has been on the floor of Parliament for so many times. Madam Speaker, the President is willing to pay the people of Northern Uganda. The President promised that is going to pay members, the claimants, their claims. But our problem has been the process of how this matter has been handled. Madam Speaker, as Honorable Linda said, there are members who went to court, and government decided to do it out of court settlement. And it was agreed, and the lists were presented. And we have those lists from 2 advocates from companies. And the President agreed, therefore, that to clear this matter.
Which company?
It was Mahmoud Kibwanga, company advocates.
Yes.
And then Basasha and company advocates.
Okay.
Whereby members spent money to process their claims. Some members even went to court to get the affidavit and also to get the administration of their estates. Madam Speaker, I want to appeal to you and this House that our people have waited for too long. Parliament, let us decide today. Let the matter be concluded in Gulu and refer it as Gulu Declaration. Gulu Declaration that all the claimants be paid. Madam Speaker, our people have been waiting for too long, as I said. Allow them, like some of them died. For example, my father was the biggest cattle keeper. Over 1,000 cattle. He lost all of them during war. He died without getting his claims. When I decided to claim on his behalf, they said it was a frivolous claim. I was claiming on behalf of the family. Even then, it was even approved. I went through all the processes, and they approved 600 cattle for my father. But up to now, they have paid only 10 out of 600,000. Madam Speaker, I'm not saying I should put my interest before the interest of the people. My interest is that the people of Lango, Acholi, Teso, who have genuine claims, let them be paid their due. Honorable Attorney General, I know it was me.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, let me add this one. When the president came to Lango during the campaign, it was me who suggested that the president should increase it to 150 billion, 50 per region, and per annum. Every year they should be getting 150 billion, from 30 billion to 50 billion.
But Honorable Felix, not all claimants will be paid apart from the verified claimants. So that one should be on record. The verification process must take place and determine the rightful people to get the what?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm so happy that you have made a good statement that all verified claimants should be paid, and should be this financial year. If you can vary the budget, get a supplementary budget, and our people are paid. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Give yes, procedure.
Right. Madam Speaker, we are discussing a very critical matter. Madam Speaker, we are discussing a very critical matter. One of the purposes of putting regional sittings is to completely exhaust debate that pertains to that particular region. And compensation is in the heart, like they've said, of the matters that affect people in northern Uganda. So we must thank you for bringing Parliament here. Madam Speaker, I look scared and worried. I'm a bit scared and worried. When my senior land brother, Minister for Justice, walked over there and declared.
He's on procedure.
And he declared compensation a token, an ex-gratia. And that is a senior land lawyer. Said, what we are discussing here, all is ex-gratia, like Senator Rafael chairman. Now, we are talking about compensation. Are we proceeding well by debating ex-gratia? Are we debating ex-gratia or compensation?
You know.
Are we proceeding well?
There is one thing that the president said, was it the president or the motion, that what government is paying for now is not what government did. It is what was done by the past governments. Yes, Ojara?
Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Norman Ochero is my good friend.
No, is your Obi in the...
Right Honorable Speaker, one time I took him to our village only to realize that he was actually operating in our area and is one of those who took part in with the rebel groups raiding our animals. And he knows. Right Honorable Speaker.
And they took 9 bags of your granuts.
They carried including nuts and goats. Is it in order, Right Honorable Speaker, to pretend to be caring when it's actually part of the problem? Thank you.
Honorable Ojara, I cannot rule on a matter where I was not present because for me I was not part of it. But Honorable Attorney General, we've so far released 130 billion shillings. How much has been paid out?
Right Honorable Speaker, when we appeared before, let me consult my small computer here. When we appeared before the Committee of Government Assurances, we informed them that in the year 2021-2022, we had received, in the financial year 2021-2022, we received 50 billion.
Yes.
2022-2023, 30 billion was budgeted, it did not come. 2023-2024, we received 80 billion, making a total of 130 billion. So,
that was what was allocated by Parliament.
That's what was allocated by Parliament.
How much did you get as a release?
From the document I have here, Right Honourable Speaker, 121.28 billion was released.
How much have you paid to the
119.8 billion was paid out, and 1.486 bounced. That's what I can talk about. So the discrepancies discussed or brought forward by the report, I can only correct them by engaging the technical people so that I respond to them ably. It is already passed.
Honorable Attorney General.
Yes, Right Honorable.
The people of Acholi, the people of West Nile, the people of Teso, Bukedi, Busoga, all those people, Lango, are on issues of compensation.
Yes.
And they would even be only happy if we only discuss compensation in this sitting. Compensation is paramount for them. So you need to put your things right for you to be able to tell the people how much you have given them, who are the beneficiaries.
Right Honourable Speaker, that's why I requested for time to do that. I would be ready the sitting of next week to respond to everything as raised. But be that as it may, Right Honourable Speaker, all the figures paid out, including the lists paid out, are on the website of the Ministry of Justice. Every member can access it so that by the time we appear next week, if you agree to my proposal, for me to present my response, everyone will have the requisite information from the website. I beg to submit.
And in total, from the list you know that you're supposed to pay, how much money is required to pay the claimants, verified claimants?
Right Honourable Speaker, when we appeared before the Committee of Government Assurance, we said on the basis of the verified claimants that we have on the lists would require 400 billion.
400 billion.
Yes, I believe that's what we presented to the committee.
You have already received 130.
So now, when the committee says all we required was 200 billion, that creates a discrepancy of 200 billion. Now, I need to engage with the technical people to find out how they arrived at the 400 billion, so that I can present that to Parliament.
Yes, Zombo.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, You're hearing what the Attorney General is saying. You are the ones who give out money. I will agree with what Honorable Kotogong says, that we must find money and clear these people. We must clear them. If we agree here that in the next supplemental that is going to come, and Honorable Kasaija is in agreement that we should get money for the claimants, let it be so. But what we need to do is to make sure that the right people get the money. We make sure that verification is done rightfully.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. First of all, this is a very important issue that should be handled with all the gentility it requires. There are many stakeholders in this, and if it is not properly handled, these stakeholders may start their own actions which may not be nice for us as a country. Number two, I go back to the Latin origin of ex gratia. Fortunately, I studied Latin. Ex gratia means out of goodwill. And compensation comes from Latin word compensare, which means restoring the gains and the losses. While compensation is legal, ex gratia is voluntary. While compensation is to restore to the original position, ex gratia is just a goodwill. While compensation is taxable, ex gratia is tax-free. And if I inherit the office of Member of Parliament in Ora County, I need to take responsibility and carry on what I got on the ground. It is an obligation which I feel I should work towards fulfilling. So, and when you look at the history, the events, the people who suffered the impact of these catastrophes, if you look at 1996, for example, where LRA, for example, banned about 16 vehicles on Karuma Pakwash Road, it was the people of West Nile. So, for me, first of all, I need clarification from the Attorney General. Why are you calling it ex gratia, not compensation? Number two, yes, and then number two, I think the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice. And then the people who suffered in this are only not restricted to Acholi, Lango, and Teso. So, what is the position of the people of West Nile? Thank you very much.
Yes, Chair. Even the people of Bugisu suffered.
Right Honorable Speaker, when we moved across...
Abeja, you have something to say? Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, when we moved across the sub-regions, this was a very important matter. And there are teams that traveled from Kalamoja, they are here. There are teams that traveled from Sebei, they are here. There are teams that traveled from all the sub-regions to come and hear the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda debate on this very important issue. Right Honorable, I want to implore you that the Attorney General tomorrow comes up with some answers and he allows the Parliament to debate this very important issue for the northern sub-region, for the northern region. We cannot refer this issue to next 2 weeks. We must leave northern Uganda when we have fully debated and we have taken resolutions on this very important issue. I want to implore you, Right Honorable, that tomorrow the Attorney General can call, because these discrepancies, he can call his offices and allow members so that we debate and come up with resolutions and settle this issue. I implore you, Right Honorable.
Honorable members, you've heard from the chair. You also heard from Honorable Felix Okot. Bugiso, you have something to say, and then Abeja.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm Katenya Isaac, Member of Parliament, Bulambuli. Madam Speaker, I was surprised when the Committee of Government Assurances went out for verification and omitted the Bugisu sub-region. I want to ask the Office of the Attorney General, because I wrote to you, you responded that Bugisu sub-region is going to be included. You know very well we suffered the cattle rustling, we have suffered with Teso, my constituency in particular, neighbors Karamoja, neighbors Teso, and other regions. Our sons and daughters have died in this Konyi war. It has suffered with Lakwena, it has suffered in many wars. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I request that Bugisu sub-region be included in the list of compensation, or if not, we are going to engage in litigation with the Office of the Attorney General, so that we can be in a position.
Honorable Isaac, he only did oversight on verified claimants.
Yes, ma'am.
And one thing I want members to know, why West Nile is not there, why other regions are not there. This was a political promise. Political. Where they said, where the president was campaigning, Honorable Mona was the PPS that time, and the president said, I will give money for compensation. When it would reach Lango, I will give money for compensation. Actually, I will give money for compensation. And then Teso, I will give money for compensation. But now what we need to do is look at it holistically on the people who suffered. It is not only the 3 areas that suffered. Let's look at it holistically, come with a right figure that we may need to sort out these people.
Madam Speaker, when the President was in Sabay on the 9th of October 2022, he promised to compensate the people of Bugisu, and Bulambuli in particular was mentioned. And therefore, I wrote to the Attorney General. He responded and said, we are going to be included in the list of people to be compensated. Even the President instructed his personal secretary, Honorable Omona. He's aware about this. And the Attorney General wrote to me. I've written back to him, but I've not received. I received a response. But when he came to present the issue, I wasn't.
That will be looked upon.
I request, Madam Speaker, you include it on the list of areas to be compensated. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me to appreciate the report from the committee. And to begin with, Right Honorable Speaker, let's appreciate His Excellency the President. The issue of compensation, sometimes when I hear about it, I feel so painful. Muzei has a very good heart to compensate. But why, the reason why this matter can never come to a conclusion. The report coming from my district, the confusion is being caused by the lawyers who took over this compensation. These lawyers never lost anything like a cow. But the money they have eaten, the corruption in this compensation, God will pay them. God will punish them. My father lost cows. None of my family member has ever received any single cow. But we have evidence in Lango that people have eaten these cows.
That lawyers received.
May God forgive them. Two, Right Honorable. May God not forgive them, but may they be forgiven. Right Honorable Speaker, we were at Chankwanzi, our first retreat. You were not there. After people's presentation before Muzei requested that since your parents who have died has left behind children why can't we give like 2, 3, 4 cows per household, or to each and every family which is now currently living? But people who had a hand and had a feeling towards this never allowed. So as a woman and a child whom her people in Otuke suffered this fate, me, I would even go for the motion that they proposed today to reinstate each and every household.
Restocking vis-a-vis compensation.
Yes. Because in my district, even the real beneficiaries are not going to get this compensation. How about those ones who will be left crying? I submit.
Thank you, Susan. Achuti.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, as Lango, we've been having discussions with the Attorney General for the last 3 years. And what has been presented today is information that he has. There is key information that we want him to present here tomorrow. One is that there was a court case between Akelo Beti versus the Attorney General, where verification was done for 59,088 claimants. All of them have been excluded from the compensation and the payment process for the last 3 years. We want the Attorney General to come out very clear with that and also to present that court ruling, because there was a ruling that was made. The verification was done in court in the presence of the Ministry of Justice. But all the 59,088 claimants have never been paid up to date. Two, the Attorney General had the 42,042 people that they verified. However, only 18,000.
Dr. Chuti, actually, I'm the one who gave you to represent me in that meeting. Now, what you're giving out is what was in the committee. Remember, we had a meeting of the different 3 sub-regions.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. So, there was the 42,042. Those were the numbers that were verified for Lango by the Attorney General. But only 18,000 were allowed to fill the forms, what they call the data cards, to be paid. We want also the Attorney General to come out very clear on that tomorrow, because this is a matter for the last 2 years we have followed up and there has been no clear response. Thirdly, is on the issue of compensation in terms of numbers that were reduced. People's numbers were reduced 10 to 5, 20 to 6. The Attorney General stated that they should complain. Complaints have been made to date. That has not been considered. And lastly, as we speak right now, there is a document known as the data card. It has not been come out clearly on the report, which for everyone to be compensated, you must fill the data card. As we speak right now, the number of people in Lango who went to court is 125,524. But only 18,469 have been given data cards. We want the Attorney General to come out very clear on the issue of data cards. Because the reason why they are not being compensated is because the data cards are not being available. And I want to state, Right Honourable Speaker, that as much as we're discussing an outstanding figure of 400 and something billion, the actual figure is much, much bigger, and already the Attorney General has already verified. So even when we say 6 months for verification, he already has additional numbers.
What figure do you have from
He has,
outside?
there's an additional 59,088 on top of the 42,042 that were already verified in court. And the court made a ruling that they be paid. But they have been excluded from the list itself.
There's a procedure. Honourable members, it's an agreed position that we get a report from Attorney General tomorrow, not so?
Madam Speaker,
just a minute, Mama.
I rise on a point of procedure. I have kept on hearing English words, ex gratia, compensation. Who are the people of ex gratia? Exactly. Who are the people for compensation? And where are they? How many are they? Because sounds like ex gratia has no legal basis, as the Honorable Mao submitted. But compensation seems to have a legal base. Where does that put Karamoja, whose cases have not been verified? My understanding also is that the state has a responsibility to protect life and property. In circumstances where the state fails on its hands to protect life and property, what do you do to those people? Do you give them ex gratia or do you compensate them? Madam Speaker, are we therefore proceeding properly when we cannot define who the beneficiaries of compensation are and those who are for ex gratia?
We are actually not moving well because we have deviated from the report. Where is yes, Emmanuel, then Tinker.
Right Honorable Speaker, it was me yesterday who brought a point of procedure that stopped the Minister for Northern Uganda continuing with the issue of compensation. And today we are discussing the issue of compensation again. And yesterday I had stated clearly, if we don't have West Nile and Karamoja region, there was no reason to continue. And that's why in your wise ruling, you stopped the minister from continuing. Today we are on this discussion and still we are not hearing about West Nile and Karamoja. And for me, Madam Speaker, for me, whether people like it or not, I wouldn't mind even the 2 weeks the minister is talking about, as long as in that period we at least have something comprehensive for West Nile and also for Karamoja. What is the use of continuing to discuss tomorrow when we still don't have Karamoja and West Nile in all this debate? Madam Speaker, I wish to submit.
Honorable members, yesterday, honorable members, Dorcas, I've not called you to speak. I was just telling you there's one meeting. Honorable members, what Honorable Emmanuel is mentioning is what happened to Karamoja yesterday. Nakut, stop being a Karachuna. Honorable members, since you're becoming indisciplined, honorable members, Dorcas, Achem Dorcas. The committee of the Attorney General, since everything should be inclusive, Attorney General, somebody is bringing a motion? Yes. Honorable members.
Right, Honorable Speaker, motion.
Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I move under Rule 64 that the debate should be deferred for tomorrow. If you can adjourn the House for tomorrow. Right, Honorable Speaker, I move.
Honorable members, this report will be presented. The fact is, I still go with the one member, Honorable Kotogong. We need everybody paid. We need to retreat and make sure that we get money. And I am happy the Minister of Finance is here. Minister of Finance, we need to retreat and make sure that we have money. We are going into a political season. We need everybody sorted out. And that is the most wise idea that has come out. We are going to make sure we provide money and everybody to be paid. On the inconsistencies, I want you to present the report on Tuesday in the House. But give us a source of funding. We want everybody to be paid. I adjourn the House to 10 tomorrow.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Ankole segment. Learn about the fabrication of Ankole Kingdom from Nkore at the detriment of Mpororo states.